So we're here at CES 2026 in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're going to be going over the 2026 car innovations that are being driven by smarter driver assistance and AI, more compatible EV platforms and batteries, and increasingly software defined, as they say, connected vehicles. Many new models and platforms are arriving with advanced ADAS, over-the-air updates, and more efficient hybrid EV powertrains that evolve through software over their lifetimes. A good example would be Tesla, how you can just go on the Tesla app and upgrade to having FSD, which is a bit controversial right now. Full state driving, essentially, is what it is. And hey, let's get right into the latest updates.
In both worlds. This increases the top speed, helps to reduce drag, but then on the top surface, you've got a whacking great wing and loads of downforce. Come around the back, I'm going to hit the special button on my key and open this up, which is I just want an excuse to open it up, really. What a piece of drama. There's obviously ghost mode, which you can hit where all the doors go up, the bonnet and the rear at the same time. Ultimate piece of peacocking. That's been a Koenigsegg staple for years now. This engine though, the 5-litre twin turbo V8 from the Jesko Familia. As I say, it's had a little ECU tickle, redesigned air vents. It's unlocked an extra 25 horsepower. So you've got about 1,300 horsepower if you're running on standard 95 octane pump fuel, but 1,625 horsepower when you're running on E85, which is a lot of power indeed. So there's no huge technical upgrade on this car, no quantum leap. It's just a series of small incremental improvements that should add up to a car that is even more extreme, even more visceral, even faster around a racetrack. Speaking of which, there is of course a racetrack that we're very familiar with, and so is Koenigsegg, that this car should excel on. Christian? Speaking of which, you obviously, Jesko Attack went around the Top Gear test track, set a blistering lap time.
It did.
Was the road legal lap record holder, briefly.
Right,
And then
yes.
the Valkyrie went slightly quicker, but...
Yes, true.
This car,
So that's why we built it.
You've turned that around quickly. But no, if you're willing, let's get this down to the Top Gear track. Because
we need to see what it can do, right?
Yeah.
So why not?
Stiggy, you better start stretching off. The remarkable thing though about the Sadir Spear is the interior isn't quite as pared back as you'd imagine. Yeah, it's not exactly a stripped out racing car in here, is it? It's still quite luxurious. I don't think I've ever seen so much gorgeous exposed carbon fibre and brown and cream leather in my entire life. The most obvious giveaway that this thing is a little more focused is this, the optional 6-point harness, which, as you can imagine, is a massive faff to use when you're getting in and out, constantly sitting on the buckle and, yeah, crushing my bits. But you'll see that the passenger here has a normal seat belt. I would suggest if you're going to use this car regularly, you might want to get one of these on this side as well. But if you're going to take it on track, I suppose this is a useful addition. So what have we got in here? Well, this is new. The key, rather than going on the dash, now goes on the center console. There you've got wireless charging, you've got electric seats, you've still got a stereo, you've still got the amazing twisty self-leveling instrument cluster that's attached to the wheel. Love that. Just a little bit of Koenigsegg trickery that doesn't really get old. So yeah, it's a very usable track focused car. I mean, you could be setting a lap record in this thing while taking a conference call. I must admit, it's a lovely thing, pipped only by the CC850 in my Koenigsegg Fantasy garage. But now for some bad news. They're only building 30 of them, costing 3.8 million euros plus tax each, and they sold out instantly. In fact, every Koenigsegg is now sold out. You literally can't buy one. I'll let Christian explain. So how long, if I want to order a Koenigsegg today, how long do I have to wait? And which Koenigsegg could I have?
Yes, so all our models are presently sold out. So we have nothing to sell, which is, kind of good, but also annoying, because it's fun to interact and supply enthusiasts with their dreams and make them come true. So we would love to have more, but we will introduce something new in 1.5 years, that then we'll open up the order books again, and for something new that we're working on, and we have several projects. Doing very limited runs means you need to develop a lot.
Yes.
Because they all need to be different, and they all need to have meaning, not just the same thing. So
it's almost 30 individual bespoke cars that you're making.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, I mean, the Gemera is a bit more, as we know, but it's very much bespoke, unique, tailor-made to the customer, with meaningfulness in the sense of bringing something to the game, so pushing some boundary of some sort.
It's interesting you mentioned the Gemera, because that will actually have a good, significantly more power than this, if you can imagine that.
Yes. So,
2,300?
2,300, yes.
Woo. Okay, so a lot more power, but of course, this car is about track performance.
Yes.
With number plates. Whereas the Gemera is more of a, it's the family car.
It's the family car.
It's the family car.
It is pretty amazing around the track, I would say, shockingly so, and hopefully you can experience that soon.
Okay.
But it's not as fast around the track as this, even though it's got more power.
And I have to ask you this question, because I think I ask you it every 3 years, 5 years, about an electric Koenigsegg. Now, 10 years ago, you were probably saying, okay, yeah, maybe that's something. 5 years ago, you were a bit more, let's see. What's your answer today?
Well, the appetite in the market for this level of car fully electric is extremely low. So that's one aspect. But also just kind of experience electric cars myself for many years and loving the responsiveness, the smoothness, how easy it is to live with it and all of this. But after a while, if you're a car enthusiast, you want to feel, you want to talk to the beast. Right? You want to have a dialogue. It's an argumentation. You want to hear how is it feeling and in what mood is it. So you want the throbbing, the pumping, the heats, the sounds, the shifts, all of these aspects that just make it come alive. I would say an electric car is a bit more of a robot. This is a bit more of an animal. And it's a bit like the watch industry went through. Of course, you had in the 70s, you have the quartz watches coming in and killing the analog mechanical watches, but then they came back because people just wanted a hand-built emotional piece, artisanship. Here it also brings actually more performance around the track than any EV can, because it's lighter, but you have all of those aspects of Swiss watchmaking in the shape of a car.
And that's not going away anytime soon, that people spending this amount of money on a car want that mechanical complexity and that kind of romance of the engineering behind it.
We're fusing in electrical drive a little bit here and there, and then maybe one day, who knows, there might be something, but at the moment we're happy as it is. And of course focusing on renewable fuels and all of these things.
You were a pioneer with E85 compatibility in your cars.
Yes.
And of course synthetic or e-fuels may become more prominent in the future, at which point you could run this car on effectively carbon neutral fuel.
Exactly. And with the Gemera, of course, you can drive electric if you want. And you have regen, so you save energy. And it's the world's only hybrid flex fuel car. It's the only one mixing two environmentally aspects for the sake of performance more than anything, but it also has the nice backdrop of being more environmentally conscious, which is just an upside.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, look, it's incredible. I didn't think the Jesko attack could attack any harder, but Sadir's spear takes it even further. And look, do your tests, have a look at it, and we'll see you on the Top Gear track, maybe.
See you there.
Thanks.
Right, time for a palate cleanser. Top Gear's most popular film of 2025 was about this, the Slate pickup, and its makers hope to have the back-to-basics pickup truck on sale for $20,000. If they can do it, this cheap and cheerful startup could revolutionise the US pickup truck market.
This is a brand new single cab electric pickup truck that will cost from under $20,000 when it goes on sale in late 2026. Every single one of these that leaves the factory will be identical, apart from a choice of 2 different battery sizes, and every single one is going to be Billy basic spec. We're talking about wind-up windows, there's no central infotainment screen, there's no paint, these are plastic panels. However, there is a world of accessories and upgrades and wraps, which mean with your bare hands and zero mechanical experience, you can turn it into something like this. Or this, 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 or this. The company is called Slate Auto, based out of Troy, Michigan, with financial backing from a Mr. Jeff Bezos, which is handy. We're at their Los Angeles design studio today to find out, is this as brilliant an idea as it sounds, and is there such a thing as too cheap? Okay, so you probably want some facts and figures. It's rear-wheel drive as standard, and as standard comes with a 53 kilowatt hour battery and a range of about 150 miles. You can upgrade to a bigger battery, 84 kilowatt hours, and that gives about 240 miles of range. It's got 200 horsepower, give or take, 0 to 60 in 8 seconds, and a top speed of 90 miles an hour. But to be honest, that's fine. It's just missing the point, isn't it? Because this truck is all about being stripped back to a blank slate. See what I did there? Let me explain what I mean. It's all about simplicity, reducing costs, the replacement of parts. So if you look at the front of the car here, the headlight, the bumper sections, they're all made from cheap, readily available components. So if you do smash a headlight, if you do ding a bumper, it's going to cost you hundreds, not thousands, to replace. And then if you look at this front grille here, we've got the name of the company emblazoned across this one, and you've got these indicator covers here. But these are literally, you can see 4 screws in each corner. They're screw on, screw off, and you can have loads of fun with different 3D printed designs that give the front of your truck a little bit of a personalization. And then we get to the panels. So this is probably one of the biggest stories. The fact these are plastic panels. It comes out the factory unpainted, and there's 2 very good reasons for that. Number one, painting cars is expensive. Mercedes recently spent €1 billion on a new paint shop. They don't have to bother with it. They also don't have to bother with enormous, expensive stamping machines that stamp out the metal panels, and of course these deform slightly before they dent like metal. This of course has got this lovely orange wrap all over it, and we'll get to all the colours and the schemes, everything, a little bit later on. The wheels, so steel wheels with this sort of central hubcap here. They look absolutely fantastic. Steel wheels for the win. These are the standard tyres, but you can get some slightly chunkier off-road tyres which do look very cool indeed, but will almost certainly kill your range, so think carefully before you spec them. The design of the car, it's so simple. They've been forced to keep it as simple as possible, and what they've ended up with is just a really natural organic shape, a little curve here on the edge, and that runs right down the shoulder of the car, and it ends up being this sort of retro futuristic design which is bang on what's working in the car market at the moment. So this one's been done up as some sort of joist right, I think that's a pun, some sort of carpenter's van. So they've got various things. The roof rack on the top of the cab here, these are called tower bars, I believe, and you can connect things on the side, you can lash things to the top. But the really fun stuff happens here in the back, where you can change this from a pickup truck to a 5-seater SUV to a 5-seater fastback SUV to a kind of open back beach buggy style vehicle, which is just excellent. It's really clever as well. This rear windscreen you see here, you just take that out, put it to one side, take out this bulkhead, you slot in a 3-seater rear bench, you clip in your new SUV, fastback, whatever bodywork at the back, and then you take this rear screen and simply reuse it at the back of the car. It's absolutely brilliant. It's so economical, it's so simple, and I love the reversibility of it, right? So if you're doing a building project at your house, you might want the pickup truck because you're going to be running a load of crap from your garden to the tip. But then the winter comes around and you want an SUV, you want to stay cozy and warm, and then here comes the summer. So let's open up the back and head off to the seaside. It's fantastic, and you can do this all in your own garage. Couple more bits to point out, like the front. So these tail lights, there's just a removable panel, so you can mess around with the design of these. And you've got your truck's rear tailgate here. And we haven't really even got into all the wraps and the colors and the trims and the personalization. The levels that you can go to with this truck are quite extraordinary. If you haven't been on Slate Auto's configurator yet, it takes procrastination to whole new levels. The trucks will be built in a retrofitted printing factory in Warsaw, Indiana, roughly a quarter of the size of Tesla's Fremont factory, but the target is to eventually employ 2,000 people and churn out 150,000 trucks a year. Production hell awaits then, but because each truck that pops out is identical, chances are they'll ramp up a lot faster than Tesla did. Welcome everyone to the interior of the Slate. And what is it about absolutely bare bones basic interiors that's just so appealing? I absolutely love it immediately. But let me take you through all the stuff that isn't here. First of all, manual wind-up windows. So good. When's the last time you experienced those? Some of you probably never even used them. So it comes out the factory as standard with wind down windows, but you can add in electric windows as an aftermarket accessory. In fact, you could, in theory, just have one window electric and one window wind up. So treats for the driver and basics for the passenger. And then we move here across the dash to the steering wheel in front of me. Not a lot to talk about. There are a few buttons over here. Of course, they're not working yet because this is an early prototype. We're still a year and a half away from first deliveries. But you can see here that there is intention of having cruise control. You've got a few simple buttons down here. One for opening the frunk, a button for turning the ESC off. Oh yes, rear wheel drive and ESC off. Skids ahoy in the $20,000 Slate. The seats, by the way, absolutely zero bolstering. They're very, very flat, but they are quite comfy and they actually look rather good with this kind of funky grey fabric they've got on here. So there is a screen in this interior, one teeny tiny screen behind the wheel there. Super simple. It tells you what your speed is, it tells you what your range is and your battery level that's left, and there's a how many miles you've done in total, and then also a gear selector here with reverse, neutral, drive and park. Super simple. Get over to the middle of the dash. Normally you would find a screen here, wouldn't you? Or an array of screens in most modern cars, but no, nothing of that. There's simply a mount here where you can add your phone. There we go. Let's get that plugged in. Simple as that. You download an app and then you can control everything through the app on your phone. There's also an accessory that clips on here where you can have an iPad if you want a bigger screen, but you're not paying hundreds, thousands for an upgraded screen, a bigger thing. It's the screen you carry around in your pocket. We've got aircon in this car. Thank the Lord, because it's absolutely roasting today, with physical controls. We like that a lot. Tons of space down here. There's going to be all sorts of accessories with big center console and boxes, etc. But who needs it? You got space for 4 massive drinks down here, all your stuff here, and you can even put a decent sized bag up there. And then across the dash. So these flaps lift up, revealing what could be even more storage up here and in here, but you'll see here that they've got a couple of these speaker boxes fitted in. So these are the optional speakers that you can just clip in yourself, or I have seen an accessory with a clip for a portable Bluetooth speaker that kind of hangs down here under the dash. But super simple, it's up to you, choose what you want. And that's about all there is to talk about in here, if I'm honest. But as I said, I love it. The materials are a bit scratchy, a bit hard, a bit cheap, but this is a prototype. They're going to get slightly softer, slightly better grade materials as it gets nearer to production. But honestly, I don't mind it. I don't mind cheap feeling materials when a car is cheap. It's honest, it's what it's supposed to do. They feel hard wearing. The whole car feels solid and heavy and well built to last. And the other thing that they haven't skimped on in this car is safety, which is nice to hear. So you still get 8 airbags, you get a forward collision warning and an auto braking system. Smashing. Right, time to have a poke around the design studio, generally get in the way and see what else we can find. Okay, so we're inside Slate's West Coast design studio. I believe we're the first people to ever be inside here. And that noise you can hear coming from behind the camera, that is the 3D printing machine. It is running overtime, we're told, 18 hours a day. They are constantly prototyping, producing new parts and accessories, constantly experimenting with different bits that they can add onto the car. So you have to excuse the noise, or perhaps, Charlie, you can do something clever and just AI that away. Right, what can we show you? We're just gonna have a poke around really and see what's lying about. So this is a model, but as you can probably see, this is the SUV version. So the exact same truck as the orange one that we've been filming with outside. The only difference being that it's got this SUV add-on on the back. In fact, this one is mocked up as the commercial version, hence the blacked out window. The passenger version would have glass here and you'll be able to see that 3-seater rear bench through there. It looks absolutely brilliant. It looks seamless. It looks like it was designed to have this back on all along, which is the genius of it. This has got the slightly chunkier tyres. Again, I'm not sure how much off-roading you're going to be doing in this car, seeing as it's rear-wheel drive only, but they don't half look good. They are going to spoil your range though. This one's got a roof rack on, and it's got a rather fetching kind of Land Rover heritage shade wrap on it. There's something over there I want to show you as well. Have a look at this. No, it's not a kid's version of the truck. It's actually just a little mock-up. This is the fastback version, so you'll see the only difference really being that slanted rear screen. Never really understood why someone would choose this over a more practical SUV or a pickup truck. It's a style thing, right? I have to say, it doesn't look terrible. I think that's because it stays as a 3-door, so you get that kind of more interesting 3-door sportier coupe style look. So these are 3D printed sections, I think, for the rear taillights. So I mentioned earlier how you've literally got 4 screws. Any numpty could do this. You can take these off and then you can give the back of your car a different look. Like that. Very neat, very fun indeed. There's another truck over here. So this is, of course, the 2-seater single cab pickup truck configuration. Bit different to the orange one outside because it doesn't have the tower bars on it. You got a little roof rack up here. This just shows probably more traditional pickup truck setup with a load cover on the back and a very interesting wrap. I think this is one of a handful of vehicles that you may have seen Slate Auto parked around in various places just to create kind of a bit of viral buzz before the big reveal, hence the LOL wraps that they got on the side. Taxidermy, my family. Lovely. I'm not sure how much we're supposed to be poking around here, but no one seems to be stopping us. So there's some interesting drawings on the walls. These are quite early design studies and concepts for the interior, and you can see how they were thinking about the way that you accessorize the interior quite early on. So all these details aren't bang on the production car that we were playing around with outside, but you can see, let's get this roof rack out of the way, ideas for sort of big center console boxes. This is the speaker in the dash. You can see this one comes out. This is the Bluetooth speaker that we talked about that sits in a cradle. Here you've got an iPad for a screen, here with the phone and another screen next to it. The options are endless really. And here, this is a design wall that they started mucking around with the different combinations of colors and decals and wraps and body styles that you could have. And then they quickly realized that actually there were so many customization options that customers were potentially going to be drowning in choice. I know I am. If I'm faced with a configurator and there's just too much choice, I don't know where to start. So you'll see if you go on there. I think
Good evening. Please welcome CEO.
So you can play around with themes that they've already created, or just start from scratch and do your own one. This is a very cool exploded image. So you can see there's the base truck as it comes out the factory. This is the open back kind of beach buggy. There's a good picture up there in a minute, I'll show you. These are the tower bars we saw on the orange truck. This is the fastback section that clips on. This is the SUV section that sits on the back. Very clever indeed. And moving along here, just a bit of fun with the colours and trims. You can see how you can muck around with the wheels here, with the decals. This one for an eco landscaping company. This one's quite interesting, the Adventurer, so a more kind of off-roady style. As I said, I don't think you're going to be going on any expeditions across the wilderness in this truck because the range isn't fantastic and it's only two-wheel drive.
All right, so now we're going to jump into what's going on with Samsung at CES 2022, or 2026, rather, I'm sorry. So just jump right in, see what's going on with them. So now we're going to jump right into CES 2026 and Samsung's unveiling. Here we go.
You can even 3D print a load of these parts at home if you've got your own printer of sufficient quality. But what I like,
Good evening. Please welcome CEO and Head of Device Experience Division at Samsung Electronics, TM Rowe.
You just rip it off, order some more, and start again. As far as I can tell, there are 3 reasons why Slate...
Not ready, not ready. No script. This is first time. Hello and welcome to the First Look 2026. It is truly a first for us, and I'm excited to be here as a CEO as we come together with one Samsung voice. Today marks a new chapter for Samsung. Our mission is clear: to be your companion to AI living. And our strategy is simple. We will harness the full scale of Samsung to create technologies and experiences that truly matter to people. We will embed AI across every category and every product and every service to deliver one seamless, unified AI experience, and be at the forefront to deliver the power of innovation to more people everywhere. We shipped around 500 million devices each year across phones, TVs, appliances, wearables, and displays, all with seamless multi-device connectivity. Our device portfolio puts us in every moment of daily life, giving us unique consumer understandings. No company can do what we do. But this journey is not ours alone. We partner with industry leaders innovating together to create the best AI experiences and deliver strong user benefits. we are also enabling a powerful combination of on-device AI for privacy, personalization, real-time processing, and cloud AI for complex processing. Together, this delivers higher performance and becomes a strong foundation for seamless multi-device intelligence. We also believe the best AI experience should blend naturally into everyday routines, supporting only when needed. And being a true companion means feeling familiar from the very first interaction. So we unify how our devices work together with smart things and our One Samsung strategy. And we create consistent interfaces all around your home, with One UI expanding to TVs and appliances. And one more, Now Brief and Bixby are now even more intuitive and intelligent, offering context-aware assistance working seamlessly across our devices. That is how AI should fit into daily life. Never complicated, always natural. Tonight, we will share how we are reimagining even the subtle moments of daily life, from entertaining at home to caring for you and your loved ones. Let me make one final point, and it's about trust. For AI to become a true companion, trust and privacy are essential. Our security platforms, Samsung Knox and Knox Matrix, set the standard and are at the heart of all our experiences. We will spare no effort to prioritize governance, protect privacy, and secure our AI services. The innovations you will see today represent our vision of AI living. A Samsung experience that is more unified, more personal, and more dependable. And most importantly, open for all. AI experiences everywhere, for everyone. In a moment, my colleagues will share how we are bringing this strategy to life across each business. Thank you again for joining us, and welcome to the First Look 2026.
For generations, we found new ways to make how you watch better and better. What happens when TV meets intelligence? You create an entirely new way to interact with TV. Because AI doesn't just control millions of pixels with greater accuracy. It adapts, anticipates, and transforms along with you to make your experience more personal. It understands you and what's on screen, reading the rhythm of every moment to immerse you in unimaginable ways. When you design a TV with AI at its core, it stops being a TV. It becomes something far greater.
Please welcome Head of Visual Display Business, S.W. Huang.
Hello everyone. Samsung has long redefined what a TV can do. We pushed display technology forward. We expanded choices for every lifestyle. And today, The screens we live with are more than displays. They connect us to the stories, the excitement, the music at the moments we love. But they're just the beginning. With AI, we are evolving from hardware excellence to visual intelligence, delivering richer, smarter, more personal experiences in everyday life. This transformation will redefine how people enjoy entertainment, and Samsung will lead this next chapter as a true entertainment companion. We are confident about this future because it's built on our history of innovation leadership. We are proud to be the world's #1 TV brand for 20 years straight. Thank you. Can you guess how many TVs Samsung sold in that time? If you're thinking over 830 million, you'd be close. Now, if you took all those Samsung TVs and put each screen side by side, they would wrap around the Earth close to 24 times. Incredible. This isn't just an impressive stat. It is the result of reading every major transformation in the history of TVs. We reimagined the look of TV with the elegant bordeaux, proving technology can be beautiful. We created the first LED TV that set a new standard for the industry. We launched smart TVs, bringing the streaming era into your home. We revolutionized color accuracy with QLED, redefined reality with micro LED, and expanded cinematic contrast with Samsung OLED. Simply put, our TVs are more than devices. And now, it's time for another transformation. The next 20 years will take TVs so much further than picture quality. We are unlocking an entirely new way of interacting with your TV. And here's how we are doing it. First, we have built a full AI TV lineup that sets the standard in display technology. Micro LED is the pinnacle of display engineering, the ultimate viewing experience. Micro RGB, which I'm about to unveil, gives you the purest and most vibrant color ever achieved on a TV. OLED brings cinematic contrast, glare-free for any room and any light. Neo QLED is reaching more homes than ever before. Mini LED is becoming more accessible. And of course, there is UHD TV, now AI-enabled. What else? Well, all these products will be powered by our Vision AI companion, which received an amazing response. Since launch last September, service adoption passed 25% in just 3 months. Compared to previous AI services, this adoption rate is nearly 7 times faster. No service we ever launched has been integrated into people's lives this quickly. It's proof that we are on the path to creating a true entertainment companion. And among these remarkable displays, there is one that stands at the very top of the list. Last year, we introduced an exciting new addition to the ultra-premium category, the world's first micro RGB. But with the highest picture quality of the market, giving you the purest and the brightest color ever achieved on a TV. Micro RGB will lead the premium TV future with confidence, powered by Vision AI Companion. And today, we take the next major step forward. Meet the new 130-inch Micro RGB.
Timelessness begins beyond our universe. With no rules and no limits. Timelessness is both natural and transcendent. Beyond the limits of our physical world. And now, this transcendent presence is reaching your home. A timeless design that redefines the space we live in. Micro RGB.
Wow. Beautiful, isn't it? Thank you. This amazing TV is monumental in both scale and picture quality, and has already received a CES Best Innovation Award. Thank you. It brings cinema quality immersion into your home. And this is not just a technological achievement. It is the next chapter in a design story a decade in the making. To give this product something no one else could offer, we return to a legacy that began right here in Las Vegas in 2013, our timeless gallery design. We honor that heritage this year with a timeless frame. It's an elegant, ultra-slim, and floating design that minimizes distractions. Now the picture taken center stage. And you can see how great it looks, where it's mounted to the wall or its stand, which also adjusts to tilt the screen to a perfect angle. And to bring that quality, we create a micro-sized RGB light source. Each microscopic red, green, and blue diode shines independently, producing color in its purest, most natural form. Its AI engine enables precise control of RGB colors and creates outstanding picture quality in every scene. The result? Movies that feel larger than life, games that pull you right into the action, and everyday viewing that feel so real. Samsung TVs are not just screens. They are entertainment companions powered by advanced picture quality and immersive sound. That's why we are also bringing you HDR10 Plus Advanced and Eclipse Audio to deliver the best picture and sound experience ever. Building on the success of HDR10 Plus, which most major OTT providers have already adopted, we are proud to be the first to implement HDR10 Plus Advanced for our 2026 TV lineup. Starting this year, Amazon Prime Video plans to support select titles in HDR10 Plus Advanced and will expand to more in 2026. We also launched Eclipse Audio, co-developed with Google and already available on select YouTube videos to provide ultimate spatial sound experience, like this. Together with these two technologies, Samsung TVs are now the only devices that offer unmatched quality entertainment. Not just for movies, but also for live sports, concerts, and even user-created content. And there is more. Our award-winning Q-Symphony technology, which orchestrates sound across our TVs and audio devices, and will be expanded to family of the world's leading brands under Harman. With these technologies, we are bringing the most immersive experience to consumers. It is proof that Samsung is committed to integrating both proprietary and external technologies to drive the entire industry forward. So, you've just seen our full lineup of AI TVs, built on 2 decades of industry leadership. I'm also excited to share how through the power of Vision AI, our TVs are not just advancing the entertainment experience. They are becoming true entertainment companions. To share more, here is Sukmani Mota.
Please welcome Vice President of Visual Display Integrated Marketing, Sukmani Mota.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. And thank you, SW, for reminding us what drives Samsung. 2 decades of relentless leadership, and now ushering in a new era powered by AI. As you just heard, 2026 marks a turning point. Not only are we introducing the industry's first full lineup of AI TVs, we are redefining what a television can be with Vision AI Companion. It's not just a feature, it's the cornerstone of what we do. So we can support you in ways that were never before possible. This year, we're taking Vision AI Companion even further, with deeper context, smarter insights, and more meaningful interaction in daily moments. Let's explore what's new and exciting together. I know many of you are looking at the big upcoming tournament this year. Vision AI Companion, which you'll hear me refer to as VAC, will completely transform how you experience each match. Maybe you've thought to yourself, I wish I could watch the game without the commentary. Now, our AI sound controller technology makes this possible.
Plays a sublime long ball into the open space on the right.
Mute the commentator.
Across the face of goal!
Reset the sound.
Stoppable in this form. The keeper had no chance.
Or you can even remove the background noise so you can focus more on the commentary. Now, before the match, you might want to catch up on the latest rankings, star players, and match predictions.
You have to wonder if it
Who's going to win today?
Southcrest side. Wait, a defensive error. Jack Sterling pounces. He takes the shot, but it's
Preparing a response. Team Azure FC has a higher probability of winning. They lead in recent win rate, fan picks, and analyst picks. The momentum favors Team Azure FC.
By providing a prediction, VAC makes the match so much engaging. Now let's shift our focus to how VAC can enhance other experiences, like dining. Have you ever watched a show and thought, wow, that dish they're eating looks amazing? I know I have. Now, if I want the recipe, I can just simply ask VAC. Show me a pan-seared branzino recipe.
Preparing a response. Looks like you've been working out lately. You might like this protein-rich Bronzino recipe that supports recovery and preserves key nutrients, aligning with your pescatarian lifestyle. Bronzino filet, skin on, olive oil spray or 1 teaspoon extra virgin olive oil, fresh lemon juice, garlic, 1 small clove lightly crushed, fresh herbs, thyme, parsley, or dill, sea salt, and freshly ground black pepper.
Send this recipe to the kitchen.
Protein-rich Bronzino recipe has been sent in the moving style.
I've just sent the recipe to the moving style located in my kitchen. As you can see, the recipe seamlessly appears on the moving style screen. VAC offers a multi-device experience that completely integrates across your smart home ecosystem. Beyond these experiences, VAC can also set the ambiance for you at home all through simple conversation. When you prepare dinner, you can just ask, "Any upbeat music to listen to while cooking?"
Just a moment. Here's a playlist with strong bass to boost the energy. Cook along and enjoy the vibe of this song. Boom Boom Bass.
Actually, I recognize this song. I think it's the amazing K-pop group Rise. And I see they're here with us today. Hi, guys. VAC is your partner in managing the day-to-day. It can understand you, react to you, and is right by your side like a true companion. But of course, AI isn't the only way we're innovating. Samsung is introducing new products that transform your living spaces with beautiful design. Let's say hello to our new Wi-Fi speaker series, the Music Studio. Beautiful, right? Crafted with renowned designer Erwan Buhulek, they fill the room with the beauty of sound and art. And we are marrying its brilliant design and high-resolution audio experience with the convenience of the instant music play button in collaboration with Spotify. You can enjoy your favorite playlist by simply clicking this button. Now, it's time to meet the designer.
What is the shape of sound? You don't see it, of course, but it's always there, giving you place, a sense of being, shaping the way you feel. With music studio lineups, I wanted to give a form to this feeling. I drew inspiration from the circle and the dot. The circle, to me, is really the pure, familiar shape. And maybe the dots were kind of building a melody. Most speakers have forgotten the moment the sound stops. But music studio lineups are different, because even in silence, they will blend naturally into everyday life. Their quiet presence shapes the atmosphere around you. These are music studio lineups where sounds becomes a presence.
Wow, that's amazing, right? And next, let's dive into our newest ultra-thin OLED, the S95H. Its sleek design blends into your space with a seamless fit and a floating presence. We're also introducing our first ever zero-gap wall mount to fit perfectly against the back of your TV. So it hangs beautifully against your wall and is even easier to install. At the heart of all of these experiences is our most powerful Tizen OS yet. We are proud to offer 7 years of Tizen OS upgrades, setting a benchmark for the industry. We know how important it is to ensure that your TV continues to evolve long after it's entered your home. And we are prioritizing exactly that. In fact, every experience we're introducing in 2026 is meant to evolve with your lifestyle, with Samsung Vision AI at the core. It's just one of the many ways that Samsung is bringing AI and amazing viewing experiences to all. And now, let's see how digital appliances will transfer your life at home. Thank you.
For generations, we found new ways to improve your everyday with appliances you can truly rely on. But now, with everything orchestrated by one intelligence, we're unlocking an even better way of living. This is what's possible when your home understands you better, sensing what's happening, listening to your needs, always within reach. Because when everything everywhere is in tune, every moment becomes effortless, giving you the freedom and peace of mind to focus on what matters. With the power of AI, appliances become something far greater.
Please welcome Head of Digital Appliances Business, Cho-hee Kim.
Hello, everyone. Since the first home appliances appeared more than a century ago, their purpose has always been the same: eliminate the stress of daily chores and give people more time to spend on doing what they love. Over the years, we have made great progress toward that goal. And today, I'm proud to share the next step forward for the industry, one that Samsung is leading with the same vision always at the core. Samsung is combining our connected devices with the capabilities of AI. This is the start of the new era, an evolution from home appliances to true home companions. Home companions understand you. They are always there, ready to handle work when you need them, reliable for the long run. This has long been the dream for appliance innovators, a history in the making, and we believe we have found the path to make it reality. We are doing this by focusing on 3 core strategies: a vast ecosystem of connected devices, optimized form factors, and lasting reliability. In 2014, Samsung acquired SmartThings. For over a decade, we have been building and expanding connected home experiences. Today, SmartThings has more than 430 million users, and it works with over 390 partner brands, offering more than 4,700 device types. Thank you. This lets us understand our users in a way that simply no other brand can. As more devices connect, we continue to see a more insightful picture of how people want to use technology and provide customized solutions in their home. Of course, having many connected devices is just one step in the journey. The devices themselves also need to change how they interact with you to see, listen, and respond to you, taking care of your home efficiently. That is why Samsung has brought screens to more than 1/3 of our premium refrigerators, adding cameras in devices to bring you various AI vision features and applied Bixby across all categories. This is a game changer, and one of the best places to see how far it can go is a Family Hub. We introduced Family Hub a decade ago. Since then, we have showed how screens enabled us to create new features that change how you interact with your fridge. In 2024, we introduced AI Vision Inside, scanning and logging food items so you could plan your next meal and even reduce food waste. And today, I'm excited to share the next update to AI Vision for our AI future. AI Vision is being totally upgraded with the Google Gemini. Now, AI Vision opens boundaries and unlocks existing limitations in our refrigerator. It is AI-backed companionship and is getting noticed. Family Hub has won 10 CES Innovation Awards, while our refrigerators with AI functions have received the award for 3 years in a row. Thank you. In life, the best companions are there for you, ready to assist whenever you need them. That means our appliances need to be reliable, but they also need to evolve and get better as time goes on. For all smart appliances released since 2024, we provide up to 7 years of over-the-network updates to core features like Bixby Voice ID, AI Vision, and Knox. While your hardware stays the same, the experience continually evolves. AI is also shifting how we care for our appliances with proactive, preventative care. Our home appliance remote management, or HRM, is a system that collects product status information, analyzing it to fix problems as they come up. Since we first came up with the HRM in 2017, we have continuously improved the system. And now with the AI, it can actively monitor performance and usage. This includes recommending preventative measures before issues come up. Beyond software that keeps your appliances ahead of the game, reliability extends to the product itself to ensure that appliances can be your long-lasting companions. Samsung makes sure the key components to our appliances stay strong. Over the past 50 years, Samsung has pioneered the industry's transformation of the heart of the fridge, the compressor. After making more than 300 million of them, we now produce over 10 million digital inverter types annually and apply them to our refrigerators. We evolved from compressors to digital inverter types and now to hybrid cooling technology, leading the way into a new era of connected appliances with both hardware and software expertise. These major breakthroughs in how we build our appliances extend all the way to create a true AI companionship at home, with the connecting devices that work together to interact with the users and deliver the power and durability to handle housework. Samsung is leading the way in this next era of a home companion. And now, to tell us more about how this vision comes to life in 2026 and beyond, please welcome Liz Anderson.
Please welcome Head of Digital Appliances Integrated Marketing, Liz Anderson.
Thank you, Targi. To create a true home companion, we need to evolve the everyday experiences you have at home. A genuinely comforting, helpful presence needs to be one that understands you, your unique lifestyle, and helps liberate you from household chores. Here at CES, I am excited to be sharing how Samsung has achieved this with our AI Power Companion Care experience, which has just been recognized with the CES Innovation Award. Let's start off in the kitchen. Yes. This year, the Family Hub has become even smarter. It can handle more of our concerns in the kitchen and better serve as a companion that supports healthier living. AI Vision, our intelligent food logging feature, is built with Google Gemini, expanding the list of recognizable food items. We are planning to make our fridge able to recognize even more food items, read labels, and integrate the text and visual information to precisely identify each item. This makes your food list more comprehensive and more useful because you can quickly check on what you're running out of and restock while you're out. When you get home with a fully stocked fridge, it's time to decide on a meal. We recently conducted a survey that shows the most stressful part of cooking was not actually the cooking itself, but the process of choosing what to cook. At Samsung, we've come up with a quick, fun way to be there when you need us. It's a gamified feature that gives you recipe recommendations based on what's in the fridge that we have called What's for Today. I'm feeling adventurous today, so I'll just go ahead and have it choose a random selection for me. What about a quesadilla? Let's give it a shot. If you want the recommendation, you can go straight to the recipe in Smart Things Food, where you will see a step-by-step guide to help you get started. If I select the quesadilla, the Family Hub sends the recipe to the oven, keeping my devices in sync while I cook. There are many other ways your connected kitchen can help you with your meal prep. Our video to recipe feature will provide you with recommended cooking videos and convert the video into easy to follow steps so you can follow along while you cook. Let's say I want to make a tart. In the past, I would have had to pause the video every now and then to follow each step, and that's not easy, especially when your hands are full. Now, you can convert that video into a recipe that you can then see on your fridge screen or send it to your oven, so all you have to do is press start. Starting this year, our refrigerators will also offer a weekly report that recaps your food intake patterns. We call this Food Note. Your fridge will track items that have been frequently brought in and taken out and create a report so you can make better decisions during your weekly trip to the grocery store. Based on the ingredients you frequently use, Food Note also recommends recipes and shows you which items to restock. But that's not all. Our Family Hub shows more widgets for you to enjoy on its cover screen, which we call Now Brief. It shows various lifestyle widgets, and you can ask the fridge, "Hi Bixby, show me my Now Brief." The Family Hub can identify the difference between my voice and my husband's and display customized widgets depending on the speaker. It can also show my photos, news of interest, and even my own health information. It is a true companion that understands and helps you more than ever. But help from appliances is not limited to the kitchen. 2 years ago, Samsung introduced its first bespoke AI laundry combo, which eased the load of chores, literally. Based on our findings, transferring the load to the dryer after the wash is a huge laundry pain point. Nearly half of our US consumers have left laundry in the washer for more than an hour after the cycle is finished. And nearly 1 in 5 left their clothes in the washer for over 4 hours. And so Samsung came up with a solution. The bespoke AI laundry combo, which removed the need to transfer the laundry, now comes with a faster super speed cycle that ends even quicker and can hold heavier loads of laundry than our previous model. Yes. This is the complete solution that will be a huge help to many households. Now, I don't know about you, but I love a freshly ironed shirt. And that can be really hard to achieve, that dry cleaner quality at home. So with Samsung's new air dresser and its new auto wrinkle care, it blasts strong air and steam jets to smooth out your shirt. All you have to do is just hang it up. So while you're getting ready for work, your shirt is steaming and ready to go when you are. So while all of these appliances are stationed in place, they're doing their job, we also have our bespoke AI JetBot Steam Ultra to go around the house and keep it tidy. It comes with a Qualcomm Dragonwing AI chipset for appliances and a 3D dual obstacle sensor. This sensor intelligently identifies various liquids, such as coffee, juice, and even clear liquids, effectively preventing the robot vacuum from encountering spills. While its camera helps with navigation, it's also there for more than just cleaning. It is meant to care for you, your family, and your pets, keeping an eye around the house while you're away. And with our enhanced Bixby, you can talk to your robot vacuum naturally. You could say, "Hi, Bixby, I'm going out for lunch, so could you please clean my bedroom?" It will understand your question, process it, and carry out the request as asked. Your bespoke AI appliances are there, connected, and serving as your home companion. But are we done? Of course not. At Samsung, we always search for new ways to benefit our consumers with connected appliances. And we have just teamed up with Hartford Steam Boiler Insurance to take it a step further. So to hear more, please welcome HSB CEO Greg Baratz.
Please welcome President and CEO of Hartford Steam Boiler, Greg Baratz.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. HSB has a long record of industry leadership, delivering best-in-class equipment breakdown insurance across a wide range of sectors. We provide forward-looking risk solutions and deep technical expertise for insurance worldwide. This brings us to the data and AI era. As a leader in insurance innovation, we must address the rising demand of more personalized insurance and the rapid adoption of smart home technology. So as innovators, we looked for a partner whose vision matched ours, Samsung. Together, we are introducing Smart Home Savings. It's the latest chapter in our commitment to forward-looking, technology-enabled insurance solution. This can help reduce premiums, lowering household risk, such as water damage, powered by your SmartThings connected appliances. Using information from these connected appliances, we assess the characteristics of your smart home and enable a truly personalized offer. Knowing that you have appliances smart enough to alert you to a small leak before it floods your kitchen, we can help you avoid costly, time-consuming claims. HSB is creating a bridge between Samsung and insurers. That way, families do not have to choose between protection and affordability. Last year, Samsung and HSBC launched a U.S. pilot program, and early results indicate significant savings being unlocked from home insurance premiums. Starting this year, we'll expand the initiative to more states across the country, working with leading home insurers. This is just the beginning. It's the foundation for the future, where technology and insurance deliver meaningful savings to families everywhere. Thank you.
Please welcome Cho-hee Kim back to the stage.
Thank you, Greg. Let me take you back to the goal that appliances have pursued for more than a century: complete liberation from housework. Samsung is continuously pursuing this goal with the aim of making.
What do you guys think about all of these updates that Samsung's doing?
Offered by home appliances and mark a big step forward. We have built a reliable network of devices that smartly work together as your home companion. Going forward, Samsung will remain dedicated to be by your side, eliminating worries about household tasks. We hope to have you as our witness as we embark on this journey and strive to deliver our best. Thank you.
Please welcome Vice President of Digital Health, Dr. Praveen Raja.
Hello, everyone. You've just seen how technology can transform your home into an intelligent companion. But this is just the beginning. For decades, care has been reactive. We see problems and address them only after they arise. Now, Samsung aims to redefine care. By integrating intelligence across our ecosystem, phones, appliances, wearables, and connected devices, our vision is to shift from reactive care to proactive care, from fragmented experiences to unified intelligence, and from responding to issues to anticipating and even preventing them. We call it intelligent care. Technology that understands your context, identifies potential risks, and acts before issues arise, and supports you seamlessly across everyday moments. Welcome to the future of intelligent care. First, let's start with the future of self-care. It is essential to manage care holistically, as it's shaped by many of our daily habits: sleep, exercise, nutrition, and mindfulness. In today's world, technology is deeply embedded into our lives, but has yet to address some of the core challenges in health. At Samsung, we believe there's so much more we can and must do. Imagine a future in which your mobile phones, wearables, and appliances immediately understand your health goals and help you take small steps to reach them. Through Samsung Health, our goal is to provide personalized health coaching to help everyone focus on 4 building blocks that are vital to our health: sleep, physical activity, nutrition, and mental health. This is the foundation of connected care. We also aim to help identify the potential signs of developing chronic conditions, including heart health, brain health, musculoskeletal, and metabolic health. For example, cardiovascular disease is a leading cause of death globally. For many, unfortunately, it's a silent killer. To help people understand and address this risk, Samsung Health will work to provide visibility into heart health indicators, using metrics such as vascular load, blood oxygen, ECG, and more. But we want to go beyond identifying health concerns to help everyone engage in preventative activities that improve health. That includes coaching programs that provide daily insights and guidance to improve sleep, fitness, and more. And let's say abnormalities are identified based on your health metrics. With Samsung Health, you'll be able to receive personalized coaching to support healthier habits, such as eating a balanced diet, getting enough sleep, and engaging in regular physical activity. And you can even connect with healthcare providers on the app, which is already available now. Samsung will also suggest healthy meals based on ingredients already in your refrigerator. Personalized recipes that take into account your blood glucose data.
For one thing, this is a great
and the meals that you've
addition to
logged.
the health products that are going to be coming out in 2026. Samsung is
And at the end of a long
right now.
day,
What do you
Samsung
guys
can
think?
help
Tell
you
us in the
sleep better.
comments.
You can relax before bed by easily adjusting lighting and temperature, listening to soothing music, following a simple guided meditation, or listening to sleep stories, all on Samsung Health. Speaking of sleep, if you're like me, how much sleep you get significantly impacts your energy levels and mood. So our sleep coaching programs will help improve the quality and regularity of your sleep. Galaxy Watch, Galaxy Ring will monitor your sleep stages and determine an optimal bedtime based on your circadian rhythm.
Sleep, be able to function better.
And by working with
our
your air
day-to-day
conditioner
lives.
to adjust the temperature,
Tell me if I'm
you
wrong.
can be sure to wake up
Innovating on
rested and
getting
refreshed.
better sleep on that thing.
Samsung will also help monitor vital signs and help alert you to deviations from your typical patterns it may detect. And if needed, help connect you virtually with a doctor. As we look ahead, Samsung is investing in game-changing partnerships to make personal data and care go hand in hand. This includes our acquisition of Zelt, announced last year, which seamlessly brings data to your doctors through a single 360-degree platform with faster response times, deeper insights, and better preventive care. It's a truly new era for data-driven health and wellness. So from sunrise to sunset, Samsung Health will work tirelessly to empower
Telehealth is
you
definitely
to
on the
thrive.
rise. Kaiser is all over it even. It's
But
up and coming.
intelligent care
2026,
isn't
gonna
just
be a
about the
lot of,
individual.
doctor visits done through
It's about
telehealth,
families
that's for
too.
sure.
Many of us with aging relatives worry about their cognitive health. Unfortunately, signs of cognitive change often surface quietly, long before symptoms can become apparent. It could be subtle shifts in daily habits, small changes in sleep patterns, or speech cadence that can easily go unnoticed. So we asked, can everyday devices uncover meaningful behavioral trends earlier, naturally, and without disruption? To be clear, our aim isn't diagnosis or prediction, but just supportive awareness. So in the future, we envision analyzing data from Galaxy devices to help identify early signs of cognitive change, so that individuals and families can choose when to seek professional guidance and plan care strategies that extend well-being. This is a feature to be released in beta in select markets. At Samsung, we partner with experts to deliver insights that complement professional evaluation. Grounded in science, our work focuses on providing clarity and confidence, as increased awareness can make a meaningful impact. The future innovations I've shared with you today reflect Samsung's vision for technology that cares for you. By understanding your unique daily routines, anticipating your needs, and helping to protect the people you love, we can bring comfort, confidence, and support into every moment. Thank you.
Please welcome TM Rowe back to the stage.
How about that first look? I want to return to a simple truth. Technology must serve people. Everything you've seen today, every device, every service, every AI breakthrough has one purpose: make life better, richer, more meaningful. And that demands unwavering focus in two defining areas. First, we must uphold the highest ethical standard. As global leaders in technology, our responsibility extends far beyond creating powerful tools. We must ensure they are used responsibly, because performance alone cannot define progress. Trust does. Ethics and security must be built into the design of our AI. People deserve clarity. They deserve choice. And they deserve the confidence that the technology around them is truly working for them. Second, we must invest in people, the creators of tomorrow. The next generation of engineers, designers, and scientists must be defined not only by skill, but by purpose. Through Samsung Innovation Campus, we are empowering students and communities with deep skills in AI in partnership with the universities and NGOs. And through our Solve for Tomorrow program, we are inspiring young innovators to use generative AI to tackle real challenges in their own communities. These initiatives reflect what we believe. Great technology is created by people who care about people. And today, you saw that come alive. Every part of Samsung moving in harmony, aligned behind one defining mission: to be your companion to AI living. This vision, integrating AI across our entire product ecosystem and building deeply personal AI experiences, knows no bounds. AI experiences everywhere, for everyone. And today is only the beginning. Thank you. Have a great CES.
It was you, all of you, who drove us to find the way forward into the future. It's the way that led us to discover new forms of beauty. Make your favorite thing even smarter. Create powerful connections and unleash new dimensions. We keep exploring ahead, navigating to what's next for you. And now, the way forward is all around us. We shape the future, where billions of connections amplify yours and push boundaries to open horizons for everyone. Innovation, it's our way forward, and it will always start and end with you.
ChatGPT. It's like a ChatGPT but on your neck. You put it on your neck once in the morning and it will summarize your entire day. It will create action items for you and memories. Let's say you forgot something, let's say you need to walk a dog, it will remind you of that. People love it, people use it, 300,000 users total. That's kind of it.
So is it listening all the time or do you have to trigger it to
It
listen?
listens all the time. You can press a button to ask it a question, but it will listen the entire time.
Talk to me about how this is different than a device like a Plod or a Humane AI pen. How's this different?
Firstly, it's open source. Plod is closed source. You don't know where your data is actually stored. And the second one is this apps marketplace. So we have 2,000 different apps and you can do whatever you want with them. You can like send Slack events or you can like create GitHub issues if you're a developer and many, many more.
So the transcripts that are collected by the Omni are then seamlessly sent to these apps?
Yes, but only with your authorization. So you can install app means you authorize to share your data with them.
Have you ever looked at your Amazon Echo and thought, I wish this thing was made of wood? Well, then the MUI Lab may just be the product for you. What is MUI Lab and what are you guys doing?
Yeah, so we're a smart home company from Kyoto, Japan, and we specialize in making comm technology devices. So this is our smart home controller called the MUI board. It's a wooden screen that has LEDs underneath it. So it's a really nice alternative to like really, glaring screens that we have all around us. So this is basically like a calmer aesthetic alternative that you can put in your home, and it works with all your devices. We're focusing a lot around sleep and how to have a calmer sleep, where basically it measures your heart rate, your resting heart rate and your breaths per minute. It'll track your sleep at night and then give you a custom report the next day.
Is it doing that with sensors or temperature sensors or cameras, or how does it do it?
Yeah, so it's a built-in sensor actually. It's called millimeter wave. You don't need to go to sleep with your smartwatch or your mattress sensor, right? It just in an ambient way tracks your sleep.
Actually, quite a lot of tech baked into this piece of wood.
Yes.
Quite a lot. So can I get this right now and what's it cost?
Certainly can, yeah. So it's on both on our online store, we have like a Shopify, and then an Indiegogo in demand campaign. The price point right now is $7.99. And it ships within like 2 to 3 weeks of when you order. So we ship mostly in the US.
All right, perfect, dude. Thank you very much. Appreciate
it.
So this is Magitique, a company that can make any pair of glasses smart glasses. So what is Magitique?
Right here. This is the entire device. It tracks your eyesight. Right now, he's currently watching a basketball game. Just by looking at a specific player, it's able to tell you the player's name, the stats, all the information that you want to find out about. That information is customizable. So let's say I only want to say players' names, that's what's going to show up. There's an AI software in here that you're communicating with. We're actually also working on glasses where you can see the information on the glasses. But for the time being, this is the device, and you communicate with it.
The way it works, you said it's compatible with any number of different companies.
Any smart device.
Any smart device.
Yes.
What exactly is in that?
So there is a microphone, there is a camera. Again, you're communicating with it. So the camera is looking at what you're looking at, and it's also they're tracking your eyesight. And the microphone is so that you can communicate back and forth with it.
Now, obviously, other companies like Meta have glasses with the functionality baked into it. What's your sales pitch for why this is a better solution?
All our technology is patented, so whatever we specifically do, no one out there can do. Without talking smack about other companies, but this is all protected. This is just so you can have a home, so you can understand more, so you could search up whatever that you want to learn about it within the comforts of just your eyewear.
So what kind of AI do you have integrated into this adorable
Doggy AI?
Doggy AI. All right, so this is Sweetcar, the world's first AI pocket pet, or the Tamagotchi reinvented for 2026. So can you tell me what it can do?
Actually, it can grow up like a classical pet racing game design. It can hatch up from an egg.
So you're raising this thing from a baby all the way to an adult?
Yeah, a baby and teeny stage and to the adult stage.
You just got to pat its head a little bit, give it a little positive reinforcement, and it grows up.
It has the level, as you XP to grow up.
Did you take any inspiration for the Tamagotchi with this?
Yeah, of course.
What information is it remembering about you to become a customized pet just for you?
The first is game information, and the second is what you said. The context view shapes the MBTI also. Third is it has a radar. It can detect you. Just show up and have you detect you and say hello to you.
So if I walked into the room with a friend, it would recognize me, but not my friend. It would know.
Yeah.
So behind me is Nico, an AI pet, and the first one I've ever heard of being able to express jealousy. What do we got going on here? Who is this?
It
is our AI pet named Nico. You can say, hi Nico, reach to him, and it will show some emotions. It can show emotions like happy, sad, hungry, jealous, and so on. Like if you touch another pet, it will feel jealous, and if you return home, it will come to greet you.
Wow, so this is the first AI home companion that shows jealousy, huh?
Yeah, that's cool. It can also identify the different faces, different voices,
wow, okay.
and different gestures.
This means dance, Nico, dance.
Yes, this means love you. Love you. There's a camera over here and some sensors over the belly.
So AI Tails is a real-time cat health monitoring system that tells you if your cat is in pain. It's like an Apple Watch for your cat. So tell me about the technology baked in here. What do we got and how does it work?
So as soon as the cat approaches the station, it activates the fountain. Then we measure the amount of water and food it eats and drinks. We also measure the temperature of the cat. And with the camera, we can make a facial analysis of the cat's expression. And with that, we see really fast if the cat has pain and also if a disease is coming. So you see now with the food and water, and no food and water was consumed, we see the temperature and also if the cat is healthy or not.
So is this paired with an app that then collects the data that you can output?
Yes, so all the data we collect here, it's also displayed in the app. And also if we see an anomaly, we alert the cat owner proactive. It's actually like a smartwatch for the cat, just in a eating and drinking station.
Well, we all know pets are a big thing, so.
When you put it up forward, and then you can see this blender changes the lens automatically. This we call auto fade tag.
So are you programming hairstyles into that? Is that what you're doing, or what are you doing?
You can choose specific. You can choose your hairstyle on our app. Yes, you can also edit it.
And then what does the real-time AI coach do?
You can also download your photo, and then you can give you some suggestion of your hairstyle.
Behind me is Kamingo, a company that has an e-bike converter that can turn any bike into an e-bike in just seconds. It was getting a ton of attention on Kickstarter and also won a CES Innovation Award, so we were pumped to check it out. There are already a lot of e-bike products on the market right now. What makes your company different than the ones that came before?
Without the bulky e-bikes, without the bulky items, etc., we can just put our e-bike system on any regular bikes. First time, 10 minutes, but later, like 10 seconds. Motor here, battery here, and
Adobe, and all these useful, all these useful apps. And from my standpoint, like, how do you invest? How do you invest to support demand for workloads that don't even exist yet? And it goes to the point that Vivek started out with. The utilization of these processors that are getting deployed is as huge as the spending seems, is 100%. We hear that, and the forecast for CapEx just continues to go higher and higher.
Absolutely. If anybody has dark compute, as Vivek mentioned, maybe you can just share it with Harjot and Shiv and me and our portfolio companies. We'll happily take it and use it. I'm super excited to talk to the founders of Abridge and CodeRabbit now. Thank you guys for joining us. And talk a little bit about two areas where we've just seen a massive surge in adoption of AI within verticals and horizontal functions, healthcare and coding. Healthcare, as Sridhar just mentioned, has been a bit of a surprise for those of us who have been looking at healthcare and investing in it for a long time. A bit of a sleeper category, not the fastest adopter, but has proven differently. And coding, I think, has just been the breakout category for the last year. So, Shiv, let's start with you. Can you first just tell us a little bit about what Abridge does and sort of how the capability advances and reasoning and agents have been important to you guys for the last year?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're an AI company in healthcare, and we're focused on automating as much as we possibly can in such a way that we can unburden clinicians from clerical work so that they can focus on the patients in front of them. And just to sort of unpack that problem and that opportunity just a little bit more, There was an article published in a journal a couple years ago, the Journal of General Internal Medicine, that suggested that doctors need 30 hours a day to get all of their work done. And so that's how much opportunity there is for AI to actually seize this moment and for these agentic systems to actually help them focus less on clerical work and a lot more on the person in front of them. The split right now is 80-20, 80% clerical work and 20% face-to-face actual clinical reasoning and thinking and creative work. We think AI can flip the script.
I think all of us have had the experience with an amazing doctor who's spending 80% of his or her time typing in notes when I need them to reason about my case or my kid's case or whatever it is. And you know, when you think about the capability advances this past year, what are the things you're most excited about that Abridge is working on?
Yeah, I think that the general playbook that we've gained a lot of conviction on is that we have to do everything we can to fit ourselves into workflows. It's not the other way around. It's not the workflows fitting into these new sort of AI systems. It's we have to design systems that fit into a pretty complex workflow when you think about enterprise healthcare. So it's not just checking off the boxes in terms of privacy and security. It's also thinking about latency. It's also thinking about all the artifacts that we have to create from medical encounters. And so the playbook that we're getting a lot of success from involves distillation, and it involves fine-tuning, it involves post-training. We're at scale now. We'll probably touch 80 to 100 million lives over this next year. And all the edits that we get on a daily basis, we can learn from so that we can be that much better.
You can say that I experienced this just recently. Kaiser is moving all into this AI in their doctor trainings and all that. We'll go into that later in just a second.
We're continually getting better, and we're also gaining conviction on certain workflows actually being able to go all the way to the end zone.
Harjo, can you talk a little bit about what CodeRabbit focuses on? I think people know that coding agents and coding AI has made rapid progress over this past year, but especially for people who are not developers, who don't run development teams, maybe how does this idea of complex workflows apply to you guys?
That's right. The coding, as you all know, has been one of the biggest use cases for generative AI in terms of token usage, right? Started with a lot of simple tab completion to now fully agentic systems. Now, you can think of CodeRabbit as using generative AI to review all that code, now that given that the volume of code has increased significantly. So we provide a critical trust layer that sits between your coding agents and your production, allowing the organizations to enforce guardrails on what goes into production as you're vibe coding a lot of these features. We started around a couple of years back, but this has been a pretty crazy growth trajectory for us, used by tens of thousands of organizations, hundreds of thousands of developers, and so on. And we clearly see that in the new world of agentic AI, as the models are getting better, with Opus 4.5, or you've got Gemini 3 and GPT 5.2, the software agents are really getting great, in terms of going from a high-level prompt to some sort of a feature or any application that you're building, right? And what happens in this new world is that the two things become super critical. As the inner loop gets solved, the outer loops are where the bottleneck emerges. One is how do you review all that work? That's CodeRabbit. And then the other problem is how do you explain to you specify your intent on what needs to be built? How do you describe your destination where you want to go?
Harjo, what do you, when you talk about developing an AI for coding, what does it do for the average coder or the excellent coder? How do you think about the value add to the different strata of coders?
No, that's a great question. What we have seen is now with generative AI, the barrier to get into software development has been lowered. You're just going from natural language, English, to any kind of language code that you want to generate. Earlier, the bottleneck was, hey, I don't know TypeScript, I don't know Rust or any of these languages, and that used to be the barrier. Now, that's been significantly lowered. At the same time, generative AI doesn't make a 10x developer become 100x. It takes all the great examples that it has been trained on in the open source and brings those examples to more of an average developer or someone who's just starting out and makes them good enough with code. So that bottleneck has not been removed. So a lot more people are now getting into coding. So a lot of people fear that, okay, maybe the coding jobs are going away, but that's actually not what's happening. We are seeing a lot more people are now getting into coding. At the same time, we still have to see whether someone who's been 10x can become 100x. I mean, of course, now they're getting more volume of code getting generated, but then the review and other things are still a bottleneck.
Shiv, you work in an area where all the decisions and the data is really mission critical.
Totally.
I'm thinking about this idea of needing review once you have more speed and other bottlenecks being removed in different fields. How do you think about building trust in the healthcare sector where users are rightfully pretty risk averse?
Yeah, absolutely. Trust is table stakes. And I think it's some combination of transparency, reliability, and credibility. And so from the transparency standpoint, I think being able to build trust in healthcare, it's a pretty high bar. And there's auditability that's involved. There's some amount of transparency involved in terms of how we benchmark our models and how we share those metrics with our health systems. But there's also a lot of work around evals and being able to actually deploy something and then in a pretty organic way share with the health system partner, like this is what we're seeing actually, and we've created any number of LLM judges, for example, that will actually look at the outputs and judge it against the health system's metrics, their rubrics, so that they can understand how well anything is performing. So I think it's not just about that, it's also about credibility, it's about, in healthcare, it's about publishing. It's about actually partnering with folks and being arm's length distance from the researchers who are actually going to do some semblance of maybe a randomized control trial to actually assess what is the actual impact here. For us, I think if there is a mantra that we repeat in the company is that we want to save people time. We want to help people be more present with each other. We also want to save the system money. We know that healthcare needs deflationary economics. And there's just so much opportunity for AI to assist, to augment, and to automate, and to actually bring people closer together. And that's something that I think we need as a society more than anything else. But then there's a third act. There's saving lives. There's how do you actually help clinicians make better decisions? Like you were pointing to with your family members. How do you help them actually operate at the quote unquote top of their license, at the top of their own creative stack? And so the stakes get higher and higher as we go farther on this journey, because getting into that world, that space of clinical decision support, involves a lot more hoops. There's a lot more red tape, but it makes sense.
So one of the big buzzwords for this past year that there's a lot of controversy around is just agents and agentic capabilities, especially on more complex, long-running tasks, like both of you face. You're in the real world. You deal with, let's say, grouchy users. You deal with perhaps grouchy, but certainly very careful users. Is agent reliability a solved problem today?
Yeah, it does. I think it depends how we invoke agents versus how we invoke agentic systems. Probably depends on what kind of use case we're targeting. In healthcare, there are high-frequency, low-stakes workflows where an agent can, with the appropriate harness, for example, in the background, with access to all the appropriate data, with the right guardrails in place, actually get jobs done and do it behind the scenes, perhaps, without a human in the loop. But then there are tasks, there are jobs that should involve a human, especially in healthcare where maybe a chemotherapy is involved or some new diagnostic or therapeutic or some really important high-stakes decision is involved. There should be a human involved. And so that's where a lot of our early sort of products have focused, is those sort of experiences where we have to fit into a system where humans are there to check the output and be that last mile.
Yeah, I think in the coding side, it's been challenging and constant evolution, and people are still learning. Most of the use cases where we've seen strong product market fit for these agents has been very interactive use cases. Human being in the loop and having a constant chat session with something like Cloud Code or some of these agents that have now made, right? And the challenge there is as soon as you go into background agents where they can run for a longer horizon, the reliability is very, very low. And you would see that in every organization out of 10 developers, maybe 2 or 3 are really crushing it with their cursor usage or Cloud Code usage, while the rest of the engineers are still struggling with the right prompting techniques. And it becomes really challenging because unlike your self-driving cars where you put in your destination, it takes you there, in coding, you're describing your destination. And if your description is not accurate, the agent may run for 30 minutes, but you will end up with a lot of slop, right? And that's where the challenges have been around human in the loop, how frequently those agents should come back with counter questions. And another thing has been the tool calling formats. There's been a lot of discussion around how do you act in the real world. Sandboxes, for instance, can we generate code to do everything? There's a big philosophy and right now that for every action, there should be code generation behind it. right, to make it more accurate. So those kind of things people are still figuring out.
One question, Sarah, if I may. I'm curious, what is the biggest barrier to adoption in healthcare? Because, right, that seems like such a natural, adopter, right, of this technology. Is it, you think that the underlying technology infrastructure is acceptable? That's not the bottleneck? Is it the delivery of that? Is it that there are certain decision makers who have a natural, to your point, whether it's the regulatory aspect, right, whether it's the privacy aspect. So what needs to be solved for there to be much broader and faster adoption?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's not technical. It's really change management, and that's the biggest challenge. Healthcare is an industry that, for a lot of good reasons, has moved slow, but that's not this moment right now with AI. Healthcare is actually moving faster, arguably, than any other industry in taking in AI, and a majority of doctors in this country are using AI in some way, shape, or form every single day that they're seeing patients. So I think the real challenge as we start to, or continue to scale, but also get into new use cases that AI can take on, is going to be around change management. It's going to be around putting new solutions in front of users, getting them used to these very, very fast feedback loops. The ground is shifting so quickly. Every couple weeks, there's some big improvement. For us, for example, we do a lot more context engineering than we used to. We pull data from not just, say, a medical record system, but maybe from a payer system, maybe from textbooks, and we're engineering that together with a conversation to create output that's compliant, that output that's also clinically useful. And maybe last week's user didn't benefit from that, so how do we get them to retry that solution next week and the week after? And so I think that's probably the biggest challenge. At the same time, I think it is a pretty historic moment right now where it's moving very quickly in healthcare.
One question I'd have for you guys running these scaling AI companies is a change in the environment that's happened over this past year that a lot of folks in our portfolio.
That's majorly what it has to do with it. It really has to do with getting the public used to it. Getting people used to the fact that AI is going to be giving them health advice along with their doctors, overviewing it, of course, to make sure it's correct. However, a lot of people don't trust AI that much to be giving health advice. So that's going to be the learning curve, the adaptation curve, rather, is how people will adapt it and accept it.
12 months back, the open source models were pretty early, but now we are seeing increasing use of open source models in some parts of the harness. Because the question really now for a company like us is where does it make sense to pay a premium for something like Opus 4.5? What are those workloads? And
there was a moment in time where the narrative very strongly in the industry was you can only use the best coding model, no matter how expensive or slow it is, and open source can't catch up. And you feel that's different now?
That has changed now, for sure, right? We have seen really great open source models which have started replacing some parts of even our workloads, like summarization and some of those exploratory, how do you do grep searches on the code bases and so on. So those can be done really well with some smaller open source models, which are very cost effective. And then you have all the flexibility that you could also fine tune to the way of your liking, right? But the premium models still are premium models. If you're going with something like code review, which is a very reasoning-heavy use case. So we are one of the biggest users of some of these reasoning models like Opus and GPT-5 on the highest settings. Yeah, but the open source is catching up, for sure.
Shiv, everyone knows that coding is a very compute-intensive AI application. You can just trade more compute for better output. Is that true in healthcare? Are you guys a compute heavy organization or a reasoning heavy product?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's the training of the models, but there's also all things related to inference, and that's where NVIDIA stack is a boon for us, because fitting into the workflow means that there's uptime concerns, there's latency concerns, in addition to all the concerns around accuracy.
Right, inference is a very complex problem, actually.
Yeah, exactly, and you don't get a retry. With patient care especially, the stakes are high enough that we have to help our health systems understand that we're always going to be delivering the most premium solution. Now, underneath the covers, that might look, and increasingly looks like a very bespoke stack. So it looks like our own models that have been fine-tuned for very specific tasks, because that's affording us the latency and the uptime and the level of control that actually lends itself to the kind of personalization, for example, that we're increasingly pushing ourselves into.
And the other thinking in our company has been like, it's a habit change that we are trying to bring. Like, I mean, even if we are like doing negative gross margins for a while, it's the new habits that are forming. So we want to use the best models possible as much as possible.
I will ask you 2 rapid-fire questions if we have a minute for it, and I'll put you guys on the spot. One is, does the open source thing work? Is it sustainable? Because I think another part of the core narrative over the last year, note to end this part of the conversation on, perhaps the less obvious or less clearly right view, agree with everything you said, has been that I've held for most of the last year is actually, I think more people will create software than... This is something I changed my point of view on over the last few years. I've been like, who wants to make applications? Only engineers, like 25 million of them. And I think that's about to change. I think code generation is much more powerful than we think, and it'll end up with your boys and with developers and with a lot more users. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Vivek, are we going to use code generation and financial analysis or anything else?
Well, as long as we are the ones using it and we are the ones that... No, I think we do have access to a number of AI tools, or we are starting to get that access. But I think they're always telling us that, make sure that you understand what is being put in and make sure you understand what is coming out of it, right? So there is still a lot of kind of this co-pilot aspect of, right, that this is not giving you the answer, right? It is helping you generate that answer to some extent. But I do think, no, it is going to become more commonplace, more as a, driver of efficiency, right? There's a lot of mundane tasks that, Mark can allude to that we do. So I think from that perspective, it's going to help generate a lot more efficiencies.
And I do think it's going to be a really great finisher to our conversation to talk about how reasoning goes from code, the vanguard, to other areas like physical AI.
And that's a great segue to the next segment. So very excited and honored to introduce 2 CEOs, the CEO of Mercedes-Benz, Ola Kalenius, and the CEO, co-founder of Skilled AI, Deepak Prathak. There's so much to talk about, and unfortunately we have a limited amount of time. So before Jensen takes the stage, and for those dialing in on the stream, you can stay on the stream to listen to Jensen's keynote afterwards, so you don't have to find another stream. So Ola, I want to start with you because you have implemented AI both in the factory and in the car, and I believe you were one of the first to get certified, if not the first to get certified in the US for level 3 AV driving with Drive Pilot. And I'm wondering if you could help people understand, like, what were the advancements in the technology that enabled you to get to that milestone? Give us a sense. What did it take to get to that milestone?
Well, first of all, great to join this NVIDIA pregame show. I'm very excited to see Jensen's speech here in a few minutes. But this is a journey in terms of automated driving that started already 40 years ago. So the engineers at Mercedes, they kicked off a project back in the 80s that they called Prometheus. And what was their idea? The idea was to make driving safer. But of course, they didn't have the compute, they didn't have the sensing or the sophisticated AI stacks that we have today. And if we now fast forward through all those years, the first driving assistance systems that we launched in the early 90s, where are we now? We're now at the stage where that compute, the sensing, and the brain, the AI stack, can almost solve any one of issues that a car needs to go through traffic. But the key word is here to do it safely and explain to the driver or the passenger what the car can and cannot do. So what was the big step for level 3? Was not just the engineering task, it was also a legal task. Because the computer actually takes over. And that's the difference between a level 2 system where the human is responsible and a level 3 and above where the computer is responsible.
And not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but level 4 and level 5 for many people just can't seem to come fast enough. And I'm wondering, what are the lessons learned from level 3, getting to that milestone? And what further technological advancements do you need in order to get there?
What we're going to see very quickly, and in fact, I had a chance yesterday with the combined Mercedes and NVIDIA team to drive it through San Francisco and down into Silicon Valley, is point-to-point navigation. So a very, very sophisticated level 2 system. Some people refer to it as level 2++, where it feels that the car is on rails. You're just driving and it does everything. I drove uninterrupted for more than an hour through pretty heavy traffic yesterday, actually, on a Sunday in San Francisco, onto the freeway, no problems there, negotiated everything on the freeway, off the freeway, and back into the city again. So that level 2++ that we're launching with NVIDIA here in the States later this year, that's going to come fast. At Mercedes, very fast in many cars. Then you're going to have level 3, and of course you have level 4 robotaxis out there already today, but eventually we will have level 4 private use cars as well, so you can really sit back and relax, and the car takes over everything. It's not science fiction, it's not that far away.
And what is the, as you explain the journey that Mercedes-Benz is taking in order to get there, what is the biggest misperception that you get from people when you talk about this topic?
Well, if you're on the task and you ask the engineering teams that are working on this, to get to the 99% demonstrator is relatively easy. Not easy, but relatively easy. But the long tail of everything else that can happen, that becomes a more challenging task. And that is why safety is key. You can go quick and dirty, but you take then more risk than maybe you would like to take. But if you really want to solve the long tail, there is much more work involved, much more driving involved, much more processing of data involved, much more thinking involved of how to approach this problem. But technology is moving fast, so I'm an absolute technology optimist on this, coming to a road near you soon, at least if you're driving a Mercedes.
Well, I can relate to this because, I plugged a transcript into my favorite LLM to summarize, and when it came back with a summary, it made a mistake. And I pointed it out, and the response was, good catch. Sorry about that, right? That probably does not apply on the road.
No, it doesn't. If you're moving an object that weighs, 4,000 pounds, and it's moving at 50 miles an hour, I think a sorry is not going to cut it. So there needs to be quite a bit higher level of certainty and safety, as I mentioned, in that equation. That is also why we take the approach. You don't have to rush into the market. You don't have to be the first, but you got to make sure that what you do is robust. And then it's also a question of familiarity. I was looking at a customer study, and it's different in different countries, that if you have never tried it and you never try it, then it's like, it's there, but you're not touching the machine. Once you get over that hurdle, and especially I think parking is a no-brainer. Who likes to park? Nobody likes to park. Now that you have sensors, we have in the new CLA that we're just launching here in the States, 27 sensors around the car. It sees in all directions. Any parking situation that you feel intimidating, that car will solve for you. Push a button and the car parks for you. So once you have, as a driver, jumped over that one hurdle, you have used the machine once or twice or a few times, then it becomes second nature. And that's why I think this is going to be a feature that every driver down the road is going to demand.
I want to shift over to Deepak. I'm going to guess, Deepak, that more of our watchers in the audience are familiar with Mercedes-Benz than skilled AI. And so maybe if you could just introduce skilled AI and help people understand what you're doing.
Sounds good. First of all, great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. At Skilled, what we do is, in single line, is any robot, any task, one brain. We are building a general purpose brain for robotics. When I say general purpose, it often gets discounted. It's a general AI model, but it's a general model across robot hardware. We put the same brain on a human-like robot, humanoids, same brain on a dog-like robot, quadrupeds, same brain on an arm on an AMR base in a factory. So why do we go so general? There are two reasons we do it. First is, if you think of robotics as an area, what comes first to your mind? If you think of language models, you think of a brain. You think of robots, you think of hardware. You do not think of a brain. But for the last 70 years, for the last several decades, there are so many impressive robotics demos out there. Still, every year it feels like robot will take away my job, come to my home and do my stuff, but doesn't happen. And the reason for that is What has been missing is a general brain. It is very difficult to work in scenarios where there is variability and randomness in the scene. Second reason for us is I love Mercedes car, but in the hardware space, whenever there is one product, there are multiple different kind of hardwares which are there, like different car companies, different cars. Even for robots, it's even more true. Like one robot for your factory, one for home, maybe different form factors. You have dog-like robots, more cute robots. With being general across robot bodies, we can leverage data from any source and create this data flywheel, which can keep on fueling the progress in this area.
So, Deepak, I think that the industry, the robotics and AI industries together have agreed that data is the problem and why we don't have this brain yet. And so you said you solved one problem structurally where you can collect from different sources. But what is your philosophical point of view on what it takes, right? Because there's actually, in my understanding, huge dispersion of opinion here, where some people are like, it's world models, we're going to get it all from video pre-training. Some people believe, sim to real, RL, we can solve this problem in simulation. Others believe you need on-robot data collection, and it's just going to be as expensive as it is. Egocentric data, what's the answer here? What's the recipe?
I've been in this area for the last 15 years. I'm also a professor at Carnegie Mellon University in robotics. There is no magic bullet, right? Unlike digital AI, like LLMs, like in case of OpenAI, ChatGPT, these language Gemini-like models, there is data on the internet, but there is no data on the internet for robotics. So all this craze about generative AI, we cannot apply it to robotics because we are missing the data on which we train these models. So what do we do?
And so implicit in that is video like YouTube is not enough.
No, it is enough, right?
Okay.
So what we do is we have to bootstrap the problem somehow. The golden data is, of course, the robot data, because that's the true data that you're getting. But you don't have the robots deployed, right? So you have to first somehow bootstrap the problem by some means. So what we do is we bootstrap from human videos, right? By watching humans do stuff, like egocentric videos, could be third-person videos from YouTube or Flickr. But watching alone by itself is not sufficient, because if it was sufficient, I could play like Federer. I've watched many of his games. I can play nowhere near it, right? You have to practice and try and fail. But failing millions of times is not possible in the real world. That's where simulation helps us over there. So real human videos and simulation, that's how we bootstrap. And then you create a base layer with that. Then you have to fine-tune that model for a variety of tasks. Let's say for some work in a Mercedes-Benz factory. Then we can collect teleop data in that setup and fine-tune it. So there is no one such answer, but you put them in a recipe to get around the fact that there is no robot data. But 10 years down the line, when there are lots of robots out there getting data, then this problem will hopefully go away at some point.
Maybe one question for Ola, Mark, if I may. Please. In terms of the technology hurdles, Ola, is it the level of training and the model building where level 4 and 5 needs to work better at? Or is it what is in the car and the number of sensors and the trade-off between how many sensors you can have versus the cost and the compute requirements? Like, which is a bigger challenge? Or they are both challenging, and where do you think the industry is in kind of addressing those two challenges?
You have to approach both in terms of the sensor set that you choose and the level of compute. And working with NVIDIA, of course, we know we have the best compute. It's also, cost is a factor, but I would say safety is even more important. So we think in terms of redundancies. Everybody knows that an airplane with autopilot and so on has some level of redundancies. And that's how we at Mercedes approach a car as well. You need to have some level of redundancies, especially as you go above into level 3, level 4. Work with redundancies, because what if one system fails? Is there another signal, hence another layer of sensing that is picking up something that creates awareness of the situation and can make sure that you don't make a wrong decision? And as you said, you cannot just go, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that object. So I think that's one aspect. But ultimately, to crack the nut, I think it is the data and the learning. So the long tail that I was describing, it is working that. And there is no shortcut there where you can just push a button and now a very smart mathematical model and it's learning by itself and it's all done. you're going to have to go through the hard work as well. You're going to have to do the miles. And if you have, as is our case, 40 different models, those sensors are also going to be in different places. So don't underestimate the additional application that you have for every car when you proliferate this technology. But the basis, your foundation needs to be right. If that foundation and that foundation model is right, you have picked the right sensor set, the right compute, you have all the ingredients there to get it right.
You know, it's interesting, you talk about it seems like you have a task-specific robot in a car, and you're designing for general purpose. And I'm wondering, Deepak, can you contrast, like, what does that mean, like a task-specific versus a general purpose, and the challenge you have for, identifying the different modalities and this concept of adaptability?
Yeah, it's a really good question and heavily misunderstood at all times. Like, if you look at the example from the language community, I keep going into LLMs because we are in an AI panel here. So in LLMs, before these language models took over, in language field, every application was done in a very specialized manner. You would have a system for search, system for question answering, you have a system for math, system for coding, system for translation. Every single application you can think of, different systems. And guess what? Nobody used those systems. They were all really bad, right? So what is the main finding from this? The main finding was that you had to first go general and then go special, right? So with these models, we made general model, which can generally write code, generally write English passages, generally reason, and then you can now take these systems, and you can see in many enterprise applications, they take these models, they fine-tune them for their application, which is exactly what we do. Like, we are building this general brain to get the recipe out there. Because if you go to one area directly, so cars is special because for cars, people drive car already to go from point A to point B. People love Mercedes car because they like to drive it, right? They are not driving Mercedes. One day they can help Ola to build self-driving. They have been driving it for the heck of it. They like it. But in robots, in other applications, there is no such way to collect data at massive scale. So if you can solve the generality first, then that can help you train these specialized systems with less data, which is the exact finding from these language models. So I would say we are going for a specialized, but with a in between a general layer to reach there.
You know, we only have a couple of minutes left. Unfortunately, we could go for an hour. And Ola, I want to come to the other part of AI where you use AI, and that's in the factories. And can you help us understand, like, one of the biggest questions we get? Are you generating a return on the AI investment that you make? And I'm wondering if you could talk about that. And, and another kind of high-level question I have is, does AI change the manufacturing cost curve?
So when I hear Deepak talk here, I'm excited because I know the work that is going on here in the robotics field, that's going to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, productivity gain in our factories in decades, or maybe even in 100 years. Because what's happening there is that we're going to have these different types of robots gradually taking over tasks in the factory. And the way you can imagine that, and we already have pilots going on right now, is you have a manufacturing worker doing certain tasks, and in a state-of-the-art automotive manufacturing facility, you have some very complex tasks. But believe it or not, you still also have very simple tasks in logistics where you're literally moving one part from one place to another. Why should we not be able to do that with robotics? It is happening, and I think that already in the next 3 to 5 years, it's like you're going to have your buddy, so you have a worker, but you have your robot buddy, but that robot buddy is a thinking machine. You can talk to that machine, you can give that machine instructions, that robotic person can help you in your task. So this is huge. First baby steps are happening now. So we're testing it on the ground in factories now. But I see this also 3 to 5 years, you walk into our factories, it's going to be a different place. So keep on pushing, Deepak. But it's more than that. Together with NVIDIA and the Omniverse tool, you of course build the factory in the virtual world before you even pour one bit of concrete. So you can have actually produced cars in the virtual world completely before you build the factory. Then you can debug it digitally using AI tools. So once you actually get into the hardware, it's almost like it's perfect. And that will make it also faster and less expensive to build manufacturing facilities. And then you have other AI things which are no-brainers, predictive maintenance and so on, things that will improve quality, improve yield and so on. That we have been doing for years. Then Omniverse and the next level in the factory, in the manufacturing space is
Just
going to be
one
robotics.
line to add to this, I know we are short of time, is that in his example already, like in a factory, which task do I pick if I have to go vertical? Like there are hundreds of tasks in a factory, and if I pick any one task, there are maybe only 3 or 4 people doing it max. But every task is a bit different from each other. That's another argument why robotics inherently is a general problem.
Deepak, that will have to be the last word. Ola, Deepak, thank you so much. Very exciting developments. We're very excited to watch your progress going forward. And with that, I think we're going to have to wrap it up. For those dialing in on the stream, stay on this channel. Jensen will be out shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ready, go!
Welcome to the stage, NVIDIA founder and CEO, Jensen Huang.
Hello, Las Vegas! Happy New Year! Welcome to CES.
So what do you guys expect Jensen's going to talk about today, the CEO of NVIDIA? There's a lot of things that are coming up, I'm sure. I mean, this guy is pretty brilliant. I'm interested to see in the comments what you guys think he's going to be talking about. He's going to be coming on stage shortly.
Millions around the world are going to be watching this to kick off this new year. Well, every 10 to 15 years, the computer industry resets. A new platform shift happens. From mainframe to PC, PC to internet, internet to cloud, cloud to mobile. Each time, the world of applications target a new platform. That's why it's called a platform shift. You write new applications for a new computer. Except this time, there are 2 simultaneous platform shifts, in fact, happening at the same time. While we now move to AI, applications are now going to be built on top of AI. At first, people thought AIs are applications, and in fact, AIs are applications, but you're going to build applications on top of AIs. But in addition to that, how you run the software, how you develop the software fundamentally changed. The entire 5-layer stack of the computer industry is being reinvented. You no longer program the software, you train the software. You don't run it on CPUs, you run it on GPUs. And whereas applications were pre-recorded, pre-compiled, and run on your device, now applications understand the context and generate every single pixel, every single token, completely from scratch every single time. Computing has been fundamentally reshaped as a result of accelerated computing, as a result of artificial intelligence. Every single layer of that 5-layer cake is now being reinvented. Well, what that means is some $10 trillion or so of the last decade of computing is now being modernized to this new way of doing computing. What that means is hundreds of billions of dollars, a couple of $100 billion in VC funding each year is going into modernize and inventing this new world. And what it means is $100 trillion of industry, several percent of which is R&D budget, is shifting over to artificial intelligence. People ask, where is the money coming from? That's where the money is coming from. The modernization of AI to AI, the shifting of R&D budgets from classical methods to now artificial intelligence methods. Enormous amounts of investments coming into this industry, which explains why we're so busy. And this last year was no difference. This last year was incredible. This last year, there's a slide coming. This is what happens when you don't practice. It's the first keynote of the year. I hope it's your first keynote of the year. Otherwise, you have been pretty busy. This is our first keynote of the year. We're going to get the spider webs out. And so 2025 was an incredible year. It seemed like everything was happening all at the same time, and in fact, it probably was. The first thing, of course, is scaling laws. In 2015, the first language model that I thought was really going to make a difference made a huge difference. It was called BERT. 2017, Transformers came. It wasn't until 5 years later, 2022, that ChatGPT moment happened, and it awakened the world to the possibilities of artificial intelligence. Something very important happened a year after that. The first O1 model from ChatGPT, the first reasoning model, completely revolutionary, invented this idea called test time scaling, which is a very commonsensical thing. Not only do we pre-train a model to learn, we post-train it with our reinforcement learning so that it could learn skills. And now we also have test time scaling, which is another way of saying thinking. You think in real time. Each one of these phases of artificial intelligence requires an enormous amount of compute. And the computing law continued to scale. Large language models continued to get better. Meanwhile, another breakthrough happened. And this breakthrough happened in 2024. Agentic systems started to emerge. In 2025, it started to proliferate just about everywhere. Agentic models that have the ability to reason, look up information, do research, use tools, plan futures, simulate outcomes, all of a sudden started to solve very, very important problems. One of my favorite agentic models is called Cursor, which revolutionized the way we do software programming at NVIDIA. Agentic systems are going to really take off from here. Of course, there were other types of AI. We know that large language models isn't the only type of information. Wherever the universe has information, wherever the universe has structure, we could teach a large language model, a form of language model, to go understand that information, to understand its representation, and to turn that into an AI. One of the biggest, most important one is physical AI. AIs that understand the laws of nature. And then, of course, physical AIs is about AIs interacting with the world, but the world itself has information, encoded information, and that's called AI physics. AI that, in the case of physical AI, you have AI that interacts with the physical world, and you have AI physics, AI that understands the laws of physics. And then lastly, one of the most important things that happened last year, the advancement of open models. We can now know that AI is going to proliferate everywhere when open source, when open innovation when innovation across every single company and every industry around the world is activated at the same time. Open models really took off last year. In fact, last year, we saw the advance of DeepSeek R1, the first open model that's a reasoning system. It caught the world by surprise, and it activated, literally, this entire movement. It's really, really exciting work. We're so happy with it. Now we have open model systems all over the world of all different kinds, and we now know that open models have also reached the frontier. Still solidly is 6 months behind the frontier models, but every single 6 months, a new model is emerging, and these models are getting smarter and smarter. Because of that, you could see the number of downloads has exploded. The number of downloads is growing so fast because startups want to participate in the AI revolution. Large companies want to, researchers want to, students want to, just about every single country wants to. How is it possible that intelligence, the digital form of intelligence, will leave anyone behind? And so open models has really revolutionized artificial intelligence last year. This entire industry is going to be reshaped as a result of that. Now, we had this inkling some time ago. You might have heard that several years ago, we just started to build and operate our own AI supercomputers. We call them DGX clouds. A lot of people asked, are you going into the cloud business? The answer is no. We're building these DGX supercomputers for our own use. Well, it turns out we have billions of dollars of supercomputers in operation so that we could develop our open models. I am so pleased with the work that we're doing. It is starting to attract attention all over the world and all over the industries because we are doing frontier AI model work in so many different domains. The work that we did in proteins, in digital biology, La Proteina, to be able to synthesize and generate proteins, OpenFold 3 to understand the structure of proteins, Evo 2, how to understand and generate multiple proteins, otherwise the beginnings of cellular representation. Earth 2, AI that understands the laws of physics. The work that we did with ForecastNet, the work that we did with CorrDiff, really revolutionized the way that people are doing weather prediction. Nemotron, we're now doing groundbreaking work there. The first hybrid transformer SSM model that's incredibly fast and therefore can think for a very long time or can think very quickly for not a very long time and produce very, very smart, intelligent answers. Nemotron 3 is groundbreaking work, and you can expect us to deliver other versions of Nemotron 3 in the near future. Cosmos, a frontier, open, world foundation model, one that understands how the world works. Groot, a humanoid robotic system, articulation, mobility, locomotion. These models, these technologies are now being integrated, and in each one of these cases, open to the world. Frontier humanoid robotics models open to the world. And then today, we're going to talk a little bit about Alpamayo, the work that we've been doing in self-driving cars. Not only do we open source the models, we also open source the data that we use to train those models. Because in that way, only in that way, can you truly trust how the models came to be. We open source all the models. We help you make derivatives from them. We have a whole suite of libraries. We call the NEMO libraries, physics NEMO libraries, and the Clara NEMO libraries, each Bio NEMO libraries. Each one of these libraries are life cycle management systems of AIs, so that you could process the data, you could generate data, you could train the model, you could create the model, evaluate the model, guardrail the model, all the way to deploying the model. Each one of these libraries are incredibly complex, and all of it is open sourced. And so now, on top of this platform, NVIDIA is a frontier AI model builder, and we build it in a very special way. We build it completely in the open so that we can enable every company, every industry, every country to be part of this AI revolution. I'm incredibly proud of the work that we're doing there. In fact, if you notice the charts, the chart shows that our contribution to this industry is bar none. And you're going to see us, in fact, continue to do that, if not accelerate. These models are also world-class. All systems are down. This never happens in Santa Clara. Is it because of Las Vegas? Somebody must have won a jackpot outside. All systems are down. Okay, I think my system's still down, but that's okay. I'll make it up as I go. And so not only are these models frontier capable, not only are they open, they're also top the leaderboards. This is an area where we're very proud. They top leaderboards in intelligence. We have important models that understand multimodality documents, otherwise known as PDFs. The most valuable content in the world are captured in PDFs. But it takes artificial intelligence to find out what's inside, interpret what's inside, and help you read it. And so our PDF retrievers, our PDF parsers are world-class. Our speech recognition models, absolutely world-class. Our retrieval models, basically search, semantic search, AI search, the database engine of the modern AI era, world-class. So we're on top of leaderboards constantly. This is an area we're very proud of. And all of that is in service of your ability to build AI agents. This is really a groundbreaking area of development. You know, at first when ChatGPT came out, people said, you know, gosh, it produced really interesting results, but it hallucinated greatly. And the reason why it hallucinated, of course, it could memorize everything in the past, but it can't memorize everything in the future, in the current. And so it needs to be grounded in research. It has to do fundamental research before it answers a question. The ability to reason about, do I have to do research? Do I have to use tools? How do I break up a problem into steps? Each one of these steps, something that the AI model knows how to do, and together it is able to compose it into a sequence of steps to perform something it's never done before, never been trained to do. This is the wonderful capability of reasoning. We can encounter a circumstance we've never seen before and break it down into circumstances and knowledge or rules that we know how to do because we've experienced it in the past. And so the ability for AI models now to be able to reason, incredibly powerful. The reasoning capability of agents opened the doors to all of these different applications. We no longer have to train an AI model to know everything on day one, just as we don't have to know everything on day one, that we should be able to, in every circumstance, reason about how to solve that problem. Large language models has now made this fundamental leap, the ability to use reinforcement learning and chain of thought and search and planning and all these different techniques in reinforcement learning has made it possible for us to have this basic capability, and it's also now completely open sourced. But the thing that's really terrific is another breakthrough that happened. And the first time I saw it was with Arvind's Perplexity, the search company, the AI search company, really innovative company. And the first time I realized they were using multiple models at the same time, I thought it was completely genius. Of course we would do that. Of course an AI would also call upon all of the world's great AIs to solve the problem it wants to solve at any part of the reasoning chain. And this is the reason why AIs are really multimodal, meaning they understand speech and images and text and videos and 3D graphics and proteins. It's multimodal. It's also multi-model, meaning that it should be able to use any model that best fits the task. It is multi-cloud by definition, therefore, because these AI models are sitting in all these different places, and it also is hybrid cloud. Because if you're an enterprise company or you built a robot or whatever that device is, sometimes it's at the edge, sometimes a radio cell tower, maybe sometimes it's in an enterprise, or maybe it's a place where a hospital where you need to have the data in real time right next to you. Whatever those applications are, we know now this is what an AI application looks like in the future. Or another way to think about that, because future applications are built on AIs, this is the basic framework of future applications. This basic framework, this basic structure of agentic AIs that could do the things that I'm talking about, that is multi-model, has now turbocharged AI startups of all kinds. And now you can also, because of all of the open models and all the tools that we provided you, you could also customize your AIs to teach your AI skills that nobody else is teaching. Nobody else is causing their AI to become intelligent or smart in that way. You could do it for yourself. And that's the work that we do with Nemotron, Nemo, and all of the things that we do with open models is intended to do. You put a smart router in front of it, and that router is essentially a manager that decides which one of the tasks, based on the intention of the prompts that you give it, which one of the models is best fit for that application, for that solving that problem. Okay? So now, when you think about this architecture, what do you have? When you think about this architecture, all of a sudden you have an AI that's on the one hand, completely customizable by you. Something that you could teach to do your own very skills for your company. Something that's domain secret. Something where you have deep domain expertise. Maybe you've got all of the data that you need to train that AI model. On the other hand, your AI is always at the frontier, by definition. You're always at the frontier on the one hand, you're always customized on the other hand, and it should just run. And so we thought we would make the simplest of examples to make it available to you. This entire framework we call a blueprint. And we have blueprints that are integrated into enterprise SaaS platforms all over the world.
I just wonder,
really pleased with the progress.
I sure hope that the models he's talking about, or the router he's talking about, rather, are better.
Isn't that incredible? Now, the amazing thing is, that is utterly trivial now. That is utterly trivial now. And yet, just a couple of years ago, all of that would have been impossible. Absolutely unimaginable. Well, this basic framework, this basic way of building applications, using language models, using language models that are pre-trained and they're proprietary, they're frontier, combine it with customized language models into an agentic framework, a reasoning framework that allows you to access tools and files and maybe even connect to other agents. This is basically the architecture of AI applications or applications in the modern age. And the ability for us to create these applications are incredibly fast. And notice, if you give it this application information that it's never seen before, or in a structure that is not represented exactly as you thought, it can still reason through it and make its best effort to reason through the data, the information, to try to understand how to solve the problem. Artificial intelligence. Okay, so this basic framework is now being integrated, and everything that I just described, we have the benefit of working with some of the world's leading enterprise platform companies. Palantir, for example, their entire AI and data processing platform is being integrated and accelerated by NVIDIA today. ServiceNow, the world's leading customer service and employee service platform. Snowflake, the world's top data platform in the cloud. Incredible work that is being done there. CodeRabbit, we're using CodeRabbit all over NVIDIA. CrowdStrike, creating AIs to detect, to find AI threats. NetApp, their data platform now has NVIDIA semantic AI on top of it and agentic systems on top of it for them to do customer service. But the important thing is this. Not only is this the way that you develop applications now, this is going to be the user interface of your platform. So whether it's Palantir or ServiceNow or Snowflake and many other companies that we're working with, the agentic system is the interface. It's no longer Excel with a bunch of squares that you enter information into. Maybe it's no longer just command line. All of that multimodality information is now possible. And the way you interact with your platform is much more, well, if you will, simple, like you're interacting with people. And so that's enterprise AI being revolutionized by agentic systems. The next thing is physical AI. This is an area that you've seen me talk about for several years. In fact, we've been working on this for 8 years. The question is, how do you take something that is intelligent inside the computer and interacts with you with screens and speakers to something that can interact with the world, meaning it can understand the common sense of how the world works. Object permanence. If I look away and I look back, that object is still there. Causality. If I push it, it tips over. It understands friction and gravity. It understands inertia. That a heavy truck rolling down the road is going to need a little bit more time to stop. That a ball is going to keep on rolling. These ideas are common sense to even a little child, but for AI, it's completely unknown. And so we have to create a system that allows AIs to learn the common sense of the physical world, learn its laws, but also to be able to, of course, learn from data, and the data is quite scarce, and to be able to evaluate whether that AI is working, meaning it has to simulate in an environment. How does an AI know that the actions that it's performing is consistent with what it should do if it doesn't have the ability to simulate the response of the physical world back on its actions? The response of its actions is really important to simulate. Otherwise, there's no way to evaluate it. It's different every time. And so this basic system requires 3 computers. One computer, of course, the one that we know that NVIDIA builds for training the AI models. Another computer that we know is to inference the models. Inferencing the model is essentially a robotics computer that runs in a car or runs in a robot or runs in a factory, runs anywhere at the edge. But there has to be another computer that's designed for simulation. And simulation is at the heart of almost everything NVIDIA does. This is where we are most comfortable. And simulation was really the foundations of almost everything that we've done with physical AI. So we have 3 computers and multiple stacks that run on these computers, these libraries, to make them useful. Omniverse is our digital twin, physically based simulation world. Cosmos, as I mentioned earlier, is our foundation model, not a foundation model for language, but a foundation model of the world. And it's also aligned with language. You could say something like, what's happening to the ball? And they'll tell you the ball's rolling down the street. And so a world foundation model, and then, of course, the robotics models. We have 2 of them. One of them is called Groot. The other one's called Alpamayo that I'm going to tell you about. Now, one of the most important things that we have to do with physical AI is to create the data to train the AI in the first place. Where does that data come from? Rather than, instead of having languages, because we created a bunch of text that are what we consider ground truth that the AI can learn from, how do we teach an AI the ground truth of physics? There are lots and lots of videos, but hardly enough to capture the diversity and the type of interactions that we need. And so this is where great minds came together and transformed what used to be compute into data. Now, using synthetic data generation that is grounded and conditioned by the laws of physics, grounded and conditioned by ground truth, we can now selectively, cleverly generate data that we can then use to train the AI. So for example, what comes into this AI, this Cosmos AI world model on the left, over here, is the output of a traffic simulator. Now this traffic simulator is hardly enough for an AI to learn from. We can take this, put it into a Cosmos foundation model, and generate surround video that is physically based and physically plausible that the AI can now learn from. And there are so many examples of this. Let me show you what Cosmos can do.
The ChatGPT moment for physical AI is nearly here. But the challenge is clear. The physical world is diverse and unpredictable. Collecting real-world training data is slow and costly. And it's never enough. The answer is synthetic data. It starts with NVIDIA Cosmos, an open, frontier world foundation model for physical AI. Pre-trained on internet-scale video, real driving and robotics data, and 3D simulation. Cosmos learned a unified representation of the world, able to align language, images, 3D, and action. It performs physical AI skills like generation, reasoning, and trajectory prediction. From a single image, Cosmos generates realistic video. From 3D scene descriptions, physically coherent motion. From driving telemetry and sensor logs, surround video. From planning simulators, multi-camera environments. Or from scenario prompts, it brings edge cases to life. Developers can run interactive closed-loop simulations in Cosmos. When actions are made, the world responds. Cosmos reasons. It analyzes edge scenarios, breaks them down into familiar physical interactions, and reasons about what could happen next. Cosmos turns compute into data, training AVs for the long tail, and robots how to adapt for every scenario.
I know, it's incredible. Cosmos is the world's leading foundation model, world foundation model. It's been downloaded millions of times, used all over the world, getting the world ready for this new era of physical AI. We use it ourselves as well. We use it ourselves to create our self-driving car, using it for scenario generation and using it for evaluation. We could have something that allows us to effectively travel billions, trillions of miles, but doing it inside a computer. And we've made enormous progress. Today, we're announcing Alpamayo, the world's first thinking, reasoning, autonomous vehicle AI. Alpamayo is trained end-to-end, literally from camera in to actuation out. The camera in, lots and lots of miles that are driven by itself, where we human drive it, using human demonstration. And we have lots and lots of miles that are generated by Cosmos. In addition to that, hundreds of thousands of examples are labeled very, very carefully so that we could teach the car how to drive. Alpamayo does something that's really special. Not only does it take sensor input and activates steering wheel, brakes, and acceleration, it also reasons about what action it is about to take. It tells you what action it's going to take, the reasons by which it came about that action, and then, of course, the trajectory. All of these are coupled directly and trained very specifically by a large combination of human-trained and as well as Cosmos-generated data. The result of it is just really incredible. Not only does your car drive as you would expect it to drive, and it drives so naturally because it learned directly from human demonstrators, but in every single scenario, when it comes up to the scenario, it reasons about, it tells you what it's going to do, and it reasons about what's about to do. Now, the reason why this is so important is because of the long tail of driving. It's impossible for us to simply collect every single possible scenario for everything that could ever happen in every single country, in every single circumstance that's possibly ever going to happen for all the population. However, it is very likely that every scenario, if decomposed into a whole bunch of other smaller scenarios, are quite normal for you to understand. And so these long tails will be decomposed into quite normal circumstances that the car knows how to deal with. It just needs to reason about it. And so let's take a look. Everything you're about to see is one shot. It's no hands.
Routing to your destination, Buckle up. You have arrived.
We started working on self-driving cars 8 years ago, and the reason for that is because
8 years ago, wow.
we reasoned early on that deep learning and artificial intelligence was going to reinvent the entire computing stack. And if we were ever going to understand how to navigate ourselves and how to guide the industry towards this new future, we have to get good at building the entire stack. Well, as I mentioned earlier, AI is a 5-layer cake. The lowest layer is land, power, and shell. In the case of robotics, the lowest layer is the car. The next layer above it is chips. GPUs, networking chips, CPUs, all that kind of stuff. The next layer above that is the infrastructure. That infrastructure, in this particular case, as I mentioned with physical AI, is Omniverse and Cosmos. And then above that are the models. And in the case of the models above that I just shown you, the model here is called AlphaMayo. And AlphaMayo today is open sourced. This incredible body of work, it took several thousand people. Our AV team is several thousand people, just to put in perspective. Our partner, Ola, I think Ola is here in the audience somewhere, Mercedes, agreed to partner with us 5 years ago to go make all of this possible. We imagine that someday 1 billion cars on the road will all be autonomous. You could either have it be a robo-taxi that you're orchestrating and renting from somebody, or you could own it and it's driving by itself. Or you could decide to drive for yourself. And so, but every single car will have autonomous vehicle capability. Every single car will be AI powered. And so the model layer in this case is AlphaMayo, and the application above that is the Mercedes-Benz. Okay, and so this entire stack is our first NVIDIA entire stack endeavor. And we've been working on it for this entire time, and I'm just so happy that the first AV car from NVIDIA is going to be on the road in Q1, and then it goes Europe in Q2, here in the United States in Q1, then Europe in Q2, and I think it's Asia in Q3 and Q4. And the powerful thing is that we're going to keep on updating it with next versions of Alpamayo and versions after that. There's no question in my mind now that this is going to be one of the largest robotics industries, and I'm so happy that we worked on it. And it taught us an enormous amount about how to help the rest of the world build robotic systems. That deep understanding and knowing how to build it ourselves, building the entire infrastructure ourselves, and knowing what kind of chips a robotic system would need. In this particular case, dual Orins, the next generation dual Thors. These processors are designed for robotic systems and was designed for the highest level of safety capability. This car just got rated. It just went to production. The Mercedes-Benz CLA was just rated by NCAP, the world's safest car. It is the only system that I know that has every single line of code, the chip, the system, every line of code, safety certified. The entire model system is based on sensors are diverse and redundant, and so is the self-driving car stack. The Alpamayo stack is trained end-to-end and has incredible skills. However, nobody knows until you drive it forever that it's going to be perfectly safe. And so the way we guardrail that is with another software stack, an entire AV stack underneath. That entire AV stack is built to be fully traceable. And it's taken us some 5 years to build that, some 6, 7 years actually, to build that second stack. These two software stacks are mirroring each other. And then we have a policy and safety evaluator decide, is this something that I'm very confident and can reason about driving very safely? If so, I'm going to have Alpamayo do it. If it's a circumstance that I'm not very confident in, and the safety policy evaluator decide that we're going to go back to a simpler, safer guardrail system, then it goes back to the classical AV stack. We're the only car in the world with both of these AV stacks running, and all safety systems should have diversity and redundancy. Well, our vision is that someday, every single car, every single truck will be autonomous. And we've been working towards that future. This entire stack is vertically integrated, of course, in the case of Mercedes-Benz. We built the entire stack together. We're going to deploy the car. We're going to operate the stack. We're going to maintain the stack for as long as we shall live. However, like everything else we do as a company, we build the entire stack, but the entire stack is open for the ecosystem. And the ecosystem working with us to build L4 and robo-taxis is expanding, and it's going everywhere. I fully expect this to be, well, this is already a giant business for us. It's a giant business for us because they use it for training data, processing data, and training their models. They use it for synthetic data generation in some cases. In some companies, they pretty much just build the computers, the chips that are inside the car. And some companies work with us full stack. Some companies work with us some partial part of that. Okay, so it doesn't matter how much you decide to use. My only request is to use a little bit of NVIDIA wherever you can, and but the entire thing is open. Now, this is going to be the first large-scale, mainstream physical AI market, and this is now, I think we can all agree, fully here. And this inflection point of going from not autonomous vehicles to autonomous vehicles is probably happening right about this time. In the next 10 years, I'm fairly certain a very, very large percentage of the world's cars will be autonomous or highly autonomous. But this basic technique that I just described in using the 3 computers, using synthetic data generation and simulation, applies to every form of robotic systems. It could be a robot that is just an articulator, a manipulator. Maybe it's a mobile robot. Maybe it's a fully humanoid robot. And so the next journey, the next era for robotic systems is going to be, robots. And these robots are going to come in all kinds of different sizes. And I invited some friends. Did they come? Hey, guys. Hurry up. I got a lot of stuff to cover. Come on. Hurry. Did you tell R2-D2 you're going to be here? Did you? And C-3PO? Okay, all right, come here. Now one of the things that's really, you have Jetsons. They have little Jetson computers inside them. They're trained inside Omniverse. And how about this? Let's show everybody the simulator that you guys learned how to be robots in. You guys want to look at that?
That's freaking amazing.
Okay, let's
Pretty cool.
run it, please. Isn't that amazing? That's how you learn to be a robot. You did it all inside Omniverse. And the robot simulator is called Isaac. Isaac Sim and Isaac Lab. And anybody who wants to build a robot, you know, nobody's going to be as cute as you. But now we have look at all these friends that we have building robots. We're building big ones. Like I said, nobody's as cute as you guys are. But we have Neurobot and we have Agibot over there. You know, we have LG over here. They just announced a new robot. Caterpillar, they've got the largest robots ever. That one delivers food to your house. That's connected to Uber Eats, and that's Surf Robot. I love those guys. Agility, Boston Dynamics, incredible. You got surgical robots. You got manipulated robots from Franca. You got Universal Robotics robot, incredible number of different robots. And so this is the next chapter. We're going to talk a lot more about robotics in the future, but it's not just about the robots in the end. I know everything's about you guys. It's about getting there. And one of the most important industries in the world that will be revolutionized by physical AI and AI physics is the industry that started all of us. At NVIDIA, it wouldn't be possible if not for the companies that I'm about to talk to, and I'm so happy that all of them, starting with Cadence, is going to accelerate everything Cadence. CUDA-X integrated into all of their simulations and solvers. They've got NVIDIA physical AIs that they're going to use for different physical plants and plant simulations. You got AI physics being integrated into these systems. So whether it's an EDA or SDA, and in the future robotic systems, we're going to have basically the same technology that made you guys possible. Now completely revolutionize these design stacks. Synopsys. Without Synopsys, you know, Synopsys and Cadence are completely indispensable in the world of chip design. Synopsys leads in logic design and IP. In the case of Cadence, they lead physical design, the place and route, and emulation and verification. Cadence is incredible at emulation and verification. Both of them are moving into the world of system design and system simulation. And so in the future, we're going to design your chips inside Cadence and inside Synopsys. We're going to design your systems and emulate the whole thing and simulate everything inside these tools. That's your future. We're going to you're going to be born inside these platforms. Pretty amazing, right? And so we're so happy that we're working with these industries. Just as we've integrated NVIDIA into Palantir and ServiceNow, we're integrating NVIDIA into the most computationally intensive simulation industries, Synopsys and Cadence. And today we're announcing that Siemens is also doing the same thing. We're going to integrate CUDA-X, physical AI, agentic AI, Nemotron, deeply integrated into the world of Siemens. And the reason for that is this. First, we designed the chips, and all of it in the future will be accelerated by NVIDIA. You're going to be very happy about that. We're going to have
definitely changing, that's for sure.
chip designers and system
What are your
designers
thoughts?
working
Tell
with
us in the comments.
helping us do design, just as we have agentic software engineers helping our software engineers code today. And so we'll have agentic chip designers and system designers. We're going to create you inside this. But then we have to build you. We have to build the plants, the factories that manufacture you. We have to design the manufacturing lines that assemble all of you. And these manufacturing plants are going to be essentially gigantic robots. Incredible, isn't that right? I know. And so you're going to be designed in a computer. You're going to be made in a computer. You're going to be tested and evaluated in a computer long before you have to spend any time dealing with gravity. I know. Do you know how to deal with gravity? Can you jump? Can you jump? Okay, all right, don't show off. Okay, so now the industry that made NVIDIA possible, I'm just so happy that now the technology that we're creating is at a level of sophistication and capability that we can now help them revolutionize their industry. And so what started with them, we now have the opportunity to go back and help them revolutionize theirs. Let's take a look at the stuff that we're going to do with Siemens. Come on.
Breakthroughs in physical AI are letting AI move from screens to our physical world. And just in time, as the world builds factories of every kind for chips, computers, life-saving drugs, and AI. As the global labor shortage worsens, we need automation powered by physical AI and robotics more than ever. This, where AI meets the world's largest physical industries, is the foundation of NVIDIA and Siemens partnership. For nearly 2 centuries, Siemens has built the world's industries. And now, it is reinventing it for the age of AI. Siemens is integrating NVIDIA CUDA-X libraries, AI models, and Omniverse into its portfolio of EDA, CAE, and digital twin tools and platforms. Together, we're bringing physical AI to the full industrial lifecycle. From design and simulation to production and operations. We stand at the beginning of a new industrial revolution, the age of physical AI, built by NVIDIA and Siemens for the next age of industries.
Incredible, right, guys? What do you think? All right, I'll hang on tight. Just hang on tight. And so this is, if you look at the world's models, there's no question OpenAI is the leading token generator today. More OpenAI tokens are generated than just about anything else. The second largest is probably open models. And my guess is that over time, because there are so many companies, so many researchers, so many different types of domains and modalities, that open source models will be by far the largest. Let's talk about somebody really special. You guys want to do that? Let's talk about Vera Rubin. Vera Rubin, yeah, go ahead. She's an American astronomer. She was the first to observe. She noticed that the tails of the galaxies were moving about as fast as the center of the galaxies. Well, I know, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Newtonian physics would say, just like the solar system, the planets further away from the sun is circling the sun slower than the planets closer to the sun. And therefore, it makes no sense that this happens unless there's invisible bodies, we call them, she discovered dark matter, that occupies space even though we don't see it. And so Vera Rubin is the person that we named our next computer after. Isn't that a good idea? I know. Okay, Vera Rubin is designed to address this fundamental challenge that we have. The amount of computation necessary for AI is skyrocketing. The demand for NVIDIA GPUs is skyrocketing. It's skyrocketing because models are increasing by a factor of 10, an order of a magnitude every single year. And not to mention, as I mentioned, O1's introduction was an inflection point for AI. Instead of a one-shot answer, inference is now a thinking process. And in order to teach the AI how to think, reinforcement learning and very significant computation was introduced into post-training. It's no longer supervised fine-tuning, or otherwise known as imitation learning or supervision training. You now have reinforcement learning, essentially the computer trying different iterations itself, learning how to perform a task. The amount of computation for pre-training, for post-training, for test time scaling has exploded as a result of that. And now every single inference that we do, instead of just one shot, the number of tokens, you could just see the AIs think, which we appreciate. The longer it thinks, oftentimes it produces a better answer. And so test time scaling causes the number of tokens to be generated increase by 5x every single year. Not to mention, meanwhile, the race is on for AI. Everybody's trying to get to the next level. Everybody's trying to get to the next frontier. And every time they get to the next frontier, the last generation AI tokens, the cost starts to decline, about a factor of 10x every year. The 10x decline every year is actually telling you something different. It's saying that the race is so intense. Everybody's trying to get to the next level, and somebody is getting to the next level. And so therefore, all of it is a computing problem. The faster you compute, the sooner you can get to the next level of the next frontier. All of these things are simultaneously happening at the same time. And so we decided that we have to advance the state of the art of computation every single year, not 1 year left behind. And now we've been shipping GB200s a year and a half ago. Right now we're in full-scale manufacturing of GB300. And if Vera Rubin is going to be in time for this year, it must be in production by now. And so today I can tell you that Vera Rubin is in full production.
All right. Looks like we're getting some of our new GPUs coming out soon.
You guys want to take a look at Vera Rubin? All right, come on. Play it, please.
Vera Rubin arrives just in time for the next frontier of AI. This is the story of how we built it. The architecture, a system of 6 chips, engineered to work as one, born from extreme co-design. It begins with Vera, a custom-designed CPU, double the performance of the previous generation, and the Rubin GPU. Vera and Rubin are co-designed from the start to bidirectionally and coherently share data faster and with lower latency. Then, 17,000 components come together on a Vera Rubin compute board. High-speed robots place components with micron precision before the Vera CPU and 2 Rubin GPUs complete the assembly. Capable of delivering 100 petaflops of AI, 5 times that of its predecessor. AI needs data, fast. Connect X9 delivers 1.6 terabits per second of scale-out bandwidth to each GPU. Bluefield 4 DPU offloads storage and security, so compute stays fully focused on AI. The Vera Rubin compute tray, completely redesigned with no cables, hoses, or fans. Spectrum X Ethernet photonics. The world's first Ethernet switch with 512 lanes and 200 gigabit capable co-packaged optics scale out thousands of racks into an AI factory. 15,000 engineer years since design began, the first Vera Rubin NVL72 rack comes online. 6 breakthrough chips, 18 compute trays, 9 NVLink switch trays, 220 trillion transistors, weighing nearly 2 tons. One giant leap to the next frontier of AI. Rubin is here.
What do you guys think?
That's going to be awesome. What do you guys think? Tell us in the comments.
This is a Rubin pod, 1,152 GPUs in 16 racks. Each one of the racks, as you know, has 72 Vera Rubin, or 72 Rubins. Each one of the Rubins is 2 actual GPU dies connected together. I'm going to show it to you. But there are several things that, well, I'll tell you later. I can't tell you everything right away. Well, we designed 6 different chips. First of all, we have a rule inside our company, and it's a good rule. No new generation should have more than 1 or 2 chips change. But the problem is this. As you could see, we were describing the total number of transistors in each one of the chips that were being described, and we know that Moore's law has largely slowed. And so the number of transistors we can get year after year after year can't possibly keep up with the 10 times larger models. It can't possibly keep up with 5 times per year more tokens generated. It can't possibly keep up with the fact that cost decline of the tokens are going to be so aggressive. It is impossible to keep up with those kind of rates if for the industry to continue to advance unless we deployed aggressive, extreme co-design, basically innovating across all of the chips, across the entire stack, all at the same time, which is the reason why we decided that this generation, we had no choice but to design every chip over again. Now, every single chip that we were describing just now can be a press conference in all in itself. And there's an entire company who's probably dedicated to doing that back in the old days. Each one of them are completely revolutionary and the best of its kind. The Vera CPU, I'm so proud of it. In a power-constrained world, Grace CPU is 2 times the performance. In a power-constrained world, it's twice the performance per watt of the world's most advanced CPUs. Its data rate is insane. It was designed to process supercomputers. And Vera was an incredible GPU. Grace was an incredible GPU. Now Vera increases the single-threaded performance, increases the capacity of the memory, increases everything just dramatically. It's a giant chip. This is the Vera CPU. This is one CPU. And this is connected to the Rubin GPU. Look at that thing. It's a giant chip. Now, the thing that's really special, and I'll go through these. It's going to take 3 hands, I think, 4 hands to do this. Okay, so this is the Vera CPU. It's got 88 CPU cores, and the CPU cores are designed to be multi-threaded. But the multi-threaded nature of Vera was designed so that each one of the 176 threads could get its full performance. So it's essentially as if there's 176 cores, but only 88 physical cores. So these cores were designed in using a technology called spatial multi-threading. But the I/O performance is incredible. This is the Rubin GPU. It's 5x Blackwell in floating performance. But the important thing is go to the bottom line. The bottom line, it's only 1.6 times the number of transistors of Blackwell. That kind of tells you something about the levels of semiconductor physics today. If we don't do co-design, if we don't do extreme co-design at the level of basically every single chip across the entire system, how is it possible we deliver performance levels that is, at best 1.6 times each year? Because that's the total number of transistors you have. And even if you were to have a little bit more performance per transistor, say 25%, it's impossible to get 100% yield out of the number of transistors you get. And so 1.6x kind of puts a ceiling on how far performance can go each year unless you do something extreme, and we call it extreme co-design. Well, one of the things that we did, and it was a great invention, is called NVFP4 Tensor Core. The transformer engine inside our chip is not just a 4-bit floating point number somehow that we put into the data path. It is an entire processor, a processing unit that understands how to dynamically, adaptively adjust its precision and structure to deal with different levels of the transformer so that you can achieve higher throughput wherever it's possible to lose precision and to go back to the highest possible precision wherever you need to. That ability to dynamically do that, you can't do this in software because obviously it's just running too fast. And so you have to be able to do it adaptively inside the processor. That's what an NVFP4 is. When somebody says FP4 or FP8, it almost means nothing to us. And the reason for that is because it's the tensor core structure and all of the algorithms that makes it work. NVFP4, we've published papers on this already. The precision, the level of throughput and precision it's able to retain is completely incredible. This is groundbreaking work. I would not be surprised if the industry would like us to make this format and this structure an industry standard in the future. This is completely revolutionary. This is how we were able to deliver such a gigantic step up in performance, even though we only have 1.6 times the number of transistors. Okay, so this is, and now once you have a great processing node, and this is the processor node, and inside, so this is for example, here, let me do this. This is, wow, super heavy. You have to be a CEO in really good shape to do this job. Okay, all right. So this thing is, I'm gonna guess, this is probably, I don't know, a couple of 100 pounds. I thought that was funny too. Come on, it could have been. Everybody's going, no, I don't think so. All right, so look at this. This is the last one. We revolutionized the entire MGX chassis. This node, 43 cables, 0 cables, 6 tubes, just 2 of them here. It takes 2 hours to assemble this. If you're lucky, it takes 2 hours. And of course, you're probably going to assemble it wrong. You're going to have to retest it, test it, reassemble it. So the assembly process is incredibly complicated. And it was understandable as one of our first supercomputers that's deconstructed in this way. This, from 2 hours to 5 minutes. %, liquid cooled, 100% liquid cooled. Yeah, really, really a breakthrough. Okay, so this is the new compute chassis, and what connects all of these to the top of rack switches, the east-west traffic, is called the Spectrum-X NIC. This is the world's best NIC, unquestionably NVIDIA's Mellanox, the acquisition Mellanox that joined us a long time ago now. Their networking technology for high-performance computing is the world's best, bar none. The algorithms, the chip design, all of the interconnects, all the software stacks that run on top of it, their RDMA, absolutely, bar none, the world's best. And now it has the ability to do programmable RDMA and data path accelerator so that our partners like AI Labs could create their own algorithms for how they want to move data around the system. But this is completely world-class, ConnectX. ConnectX 9 and the Vera CPU were co-designed, and we never revealed it, never released it until CX9 came along, because we co-designed it for a new type of processor. You know, ConnectX 9, or CX8 and Spectrum-X, revolutionized how Ethernet was done for artificial intelligence. Ethernet traffic for AI is much, much more intense, requires much lower latency. The instantaneous surge of traffic is unlike anything Ethernet sees. And so we created Spectrum-X, which is AI Ethernet. 2 years ago, we announced Spectrum-X. NVIDIA today is the largest networking company the world has ever seen. So it's been so successful and used in so many different installations. It is just sweeping the AI landscape. The performance is incredible, especially when you have a 200 megawatt data center, or if you have a gigawatt data center, these are billions of dollars. Let's say a gigawatt data center is $50 billion. If the networking performance allows you to deliver an extra 10%, in the case of Spectrum X, delivering 25% higher throughput is not uncommon. If we were to just deliver 10%, that's worth $5 billion. The networking is completely free, which is the reason why, well, everybody uses Spectrum X. It's just an incredible thing. And now we're going to invent a new type of data processing. And so Spectrum X is for east-west traffic. We now have a new processor called Bluefield 4. Bluefield 4 allows us to take a very large data center, isolate different parts of it so that different users could use different parts of it, make sure that everything could be virtualized if they decide to be virtualized. So you offload a lot of the virtualization software, the security software, the networking software for your north-south traffic. And so Bluefield 4 comes standard with every single one of these compute nodes. Bluefield 4 has a second application I'm going to talk about in just a second. This is a revolutionary processor, and I'm so excited about it. This is the NVLink 6 switch, and it's right here. This is this switch chip. There are 4 of them inside the NVLink switch here. Each one of these switch chips has the fastest SerDes in history. The world is barely getting to 200 gigabits. This is 400 gigabits per second switch. The reason why this is so important is so that we could have every single GPU talk to every other GPU at exactly the same time. This switch on the backplane of one of these racks enables us to move the equivalent of twice the amount of the global internet data, all of the world's internet data at twice the speed. You take the cross-sectional bandwidth of the entire planet's internet, it's about 100 terabytes per second. This is 240 terabytes per second. So it kind of puts it in perspective. This is so that every single GPU can work with every single other GPU at exactly the same time. Okay? Then on top of that, okay, so this is one rack. This is one rack. Each one of the racks, as you can see, the number of transistors in this one rack is 1.7 times. Yeah, could you do this for me? So it's usually about 2 tons, but today it's 2.5 tons because when they shipped it, they forgot to drain the water out of it. So we shipped a lot of water from California. Can you hear it squealing? You know, when you're rotating 2.5 tons, you're going to squeal a little. Oh, you could do it. Wow. Okay, we won't make you do that twice. All right, so behind this are the NVLink spines. Basically 2 miles of copper cables. Copper is the best conductor we know. And these are all shielded copper cables, structured copper cables, the most the world's ever used in computing systems ever. And our SerDes drive the copper cables from the top of the rack all the way to the bottom of the rack at 400 gigabits per second. It's incredible. And so this has 2 miles of total copper cables, 5,000 copper cables, and this makes the NVLink spine possible. This is the revolution that really started the NGX system. Now, we decided that we would create an industry standard system so that the entire ecosystem, all of our supply chain, could standardize on these components. There are some 80,000 different components that make up these NGX systems, and it's a total waste if we were to change it every single year. Every single major computer company, from Foxconn to Quanta to Wistron, you know, the list goes on and on and on, to HP and Dell and Lenovo, everybody knows how to build these systems. And so the fact that we could squeeze Vera Rubin into this, even though the performance is so much higher, and very importantly, the power is twice as high. The power of Vera Rubin is twice as high as Grace Blackwell. And yet, and this is the miracle, the air that goes into it, the air flow is about the same. And very importantly, the water that goes into it is the same temperature, 45 degrees C. With 45 degrees C, no water chillers are necessary for data centers. We're basically cooling this supercomputer with hot water. It is so incredibly efficient. And so this is the new rack. 1.7 times more transistors, but 5 times more peak inference performance, 3.5 times more peak training performance. Okay? They're connected on top using Spectrum-X. Oh, thank you. This is the world's first manufacturing chip using TSMC's new process that we co-innovated called COUP. It's a silicon photonics, integrated silicon photonics process technology. And this allows us to take silicon photonics directly right to the chip. And this is 512 ports at 200 gigabits per second. And this is the new Ethernet AI switch, the Spectrum-X Ethernet switch. And look at this giant chip. But what's really amazing is it's got silicon photonics directly connected to it. And lasers come in. Lasers come in through here. Lasers come in through here. The optics are here, and they connect out to the rest of the data center. This I'll show you in a second, but this is on top of the rack. And this is the new Spectrum-X silicon photonics switch. Okay? And we have something new I want to tell you about. So just as I mentioned, a couple of years ago, we introduced Spectrum-X so that we could reinvent the way that networking is done. Ethernet is really easy to manage, and everybody has an Ethernet stack, and every data center in the world knows how to deal with Ethernet. And the only thing that we were using at the time was called InfiniBand, which is used for supercomputers. InfiniBand is very low latency, but of course the software stack, the entire manageability of InfiniBand is very alien to the people who use Ethernet. So we decided to enter the Ethernet switch market for the very first time. Spectrum-X, that just took off, and it made us the largest networking company in the world, as I mentioned. This next generation Spectrum-X is going to carry on that tradition. But just as I said earlier, AI has reinvented the whole computing stack. Every layer of the computing stack. It stands to reason that when AI starts to get deployed in the world's enterprises, it's going to also reinvent the way storage is done. Well, AI doesn't use SQL. AI uses semantics information. And when AI is being used, it creates this temporary knowledge, temporary memory called KV cache, key value combinations, but it's a KV cache, basically the cache of the AI, the working memory of the AI. And the working memory of the AI is stored in the HBM memory. Every single token, for every single token, the GPU reads in the model, the entire model. It reads in the entire working memory, and it produces one token. And it stores that one token back into the KV cache. And then the next time it does that, it reads in the entire memory, reads it, and it streams it through our GPU, and then generates another token. Well, it does this repeatedly, token after token after token, and obviously, if you have a long conversation with that AI, over time, that memory, that context memory is going to grow tremendously. Not to mention the models are growing, the number of turns that we're using the AIs are increasing. We would like to have this AI stay with us our entire life and remember every single conversation we've ever had with it, right? Every single lick of research that I've asked it for. Of course, with the number of people that will be sharing the supercomputer is going to continue to grow. And so this context memory, which started out fitting inside an HBM, is no longer large enough. Last year, we created Grace Blackwell's very fast memory, we call fast context memory. That's the reason why we connected Grace directly to Hopper. That's why we connected Grace directly to Blackwell, so that we can expand the context memory. But even that is not enough. And so the next solution, of course, is to go off onto the network, the north-south network, off to the storage of the company. But if you have a whole lot of AIs running at the same time, that network is no longer going to be fast enough. So the answer is very clearly to do it different. And so we created BlueField-4 so that we could essentially have a very fast KV cache context memory store right in the rack. And so I'll show you in just one second, but there's a whole new category of storage systems. And the industry is so excited because this is a pain point for just about everybody who does a lot of token generation today. The AI labs, the cloud service providers, they're really suffering from the amount of network traffic that's being caused by KV cache moving around. And so the idea that we would create a new platform, a new processor, to run the entire Dynamo KV cache context memory management system and to put it very close to the rest of the rack is completely revolutionary. So this is it. It sits right here. So this is all the compute nodes. Each one of these is NVLink 72. So this is Vera Rubin NVLink 72, 144 Rubin GPUs. This is the context memory that's stored here. Behind each one of these are 4 BlueFields. Behind each BlueField is 150 terabytes of memory, context memory. And for each GPU, once you allocate it across, each GPU will get an additional 16 terabytes. Now, inside this node, each GPU essentially has 1 terabyte. And now, with this backing store here, directly on the same east-west traffic, at exactly the same data rate, 200 gigabits per second, across literally the entire fabric of this compute node, you're going to get an additional 16 terabytes of memory, okay? And this is the management plane. These are the Spectrum X switches that connects all of them together. And over here, these switches at the end connects them to the rest of the data center, okay? And so this is the Vera Rubin. Now, there's several things that's really incredible about it. So the first thing that I mentioned is that this entire system is twice the energy efficiency, essentially twice the temperature performance, in the sense that even though the power is twice as high, the amount of energy used is twice as high, the amount of computation is many times higher than that, but the liquid that goes into it's still 45 degrees C. That enables us to save about 6% of the world's data center power. So that's a very big deal. The second very big deal is that this entire system is now confidential computing safe, meaning everything is encoded in transit, at rest, and during compute. And every single bus is now encrypted. Every PCI Express, every NVLink, every NVLink between CPU and GPU, between GPU to GPU, everything is now encrypted. And so it's confidential computing safe. This allows companies to feel safe that their models are being deployed by somebody else, but it will never be seen by anybody else, okay? And so this particular system is not only incredibly energy efficient, and there's one other thing that's incredible. Because of the nature of the workload of AI, it spikes instantaneously with this computation layer called all-reduce. The amount of current, the amount of energy that is used simultaneously is really off the charts. Oftentimes, they'll spike up 25%. We now have power smoothing across the entire system so that you don't have to over-provision by 25 times, or if you over-provision by 25 times, you don't have to leave 25%, not 25 times, 25% of the energy squandered or unused. And so now you could fill up the entire power budget, and you don't have to provision beyond that. And then the last thing, of course, is performance. So let's take a look at the performance of this. These are only charts that people who build AI supercomputers would love. It took every single one of these chips, complete redesign of every single one of the systems, and rewriting the entire stack for us to make this possible. Basically, this is training the AI model, this first column. The faster you train AI models, the faster you can get the next frontier out to the world. This is your time to market. This is technology leadership. This is your pricing power. And so in the case of the green, this is essentially a 10 trillion parameter model. We scaled it up from DeepSeek. DeepSeek, that's why we call it DeepSeek++. Training a 10 trillion parameter model on 100 trillion tokens, okay? And this is our simulation projection of what it would take for us to build the next frontier model. The next frontier model, Elon's already mentioned that the next version of Grok 5, I think is 7 trillion parameters, so this is 10. And in the green is Blackwell. And here, in the case of Rubin, notice the throughput is so much higher, and therefore it only takes 1/4 as many of these systems in order to train the model in the time that we gave it here, which is 1 month, okay? And so time is the same for everybody. Now, how fast you can train that model and how large of a model you can train is how you're gonna get to the frontier first. The second part is your factory throughput. Blackwell is green again, and factory throughput is important because your factory is, in the case of a gigawatt, is $50 billion. A $50 billion data center can only consume 1 gigawatt of power. And so if your performance, your throughput per watt is very good versus quite poor, that directly translates to your revenues. Your revenues of your data center is directly related to the second column. And in the case of Blackwell, it was about 10 times over Hopper. In the case of Rubin, it's going to be about 10 times higher again, okay? And in the case of now the cost of the tokens, how cost effectively it is to generate the token, this is Rubin, about 1/10. Just as in the case of, So this is how we're gonna get everybody to the next frontier, to push AI to the next level, and of course, to build these data centers energy efficiently and cost efficiently. So this is it. This is NVIDIA today. You know, we mentioned that we build chips, but as you know, NVIDIA builds entire systems now, and AI is a full stack. We're reinventing AI across everything from chips to infrastructure to models to applications. And our job is to create the entire stack so that all of you could create incredible applications for the rest of the world. Thank you all for coming. Have a great CES. Now, before I let you guys go, there were a whole bunch of slides we had to leave on the cutting floor, and so we have some outtakes here. I think it'll be fun for you. Have a great CES, guys.
And cut.
NVIDIA Live at CES Take 4, Marker.
Boom mic. Action.
Sorry, guys.
Platform shift, huh? That should do it.
And let's roll camera. Oh, shade of green.
CES Take 4.
A bright, happy green.
World's most powerful AI supercomputer you can plug into the wall, next to my toaster.
Hey guys, I'm stuck again. I'm so sorry.
This slide is never gonna work. Let's just cut it.
Hello? Can you hear me? So like I was saying, the router, because not every problem needs the biggest, smartest model, just the right one.
No.
Well, guys, so there you have it. Jensen Huang, everybody, with NVIDIA's latest and greatest. It's coming up with, all their new transformers and all that good stuff. So tell us in the comments below what you think of this keynote speaker upcoming things that's going to be going on with NVIDIA and all their partners. Tell us in the comments. Until next time, be sure to like and subscribe and follow so you stay up to date on the latest at CES 2026. And be sure to jump right back on during the next keynote speaking.